And look at Jochen Hahn and Antonio Albacete. The two of them go flying through the right-hand side, then the left-hand side. Jochen Hahn around the outside, and Lucas Hahn, no father and son, come together on the exit of turn one.
And the best thing about this is the fact that it's still a 15-minute sprint race. They've not extended the time of the race. It's still just like, it's going to be, what, 7 laps of Spa-Francorchamps?
We get to the real nitty-gritty of motorsport.
Cranston and Smith are side by side for the title in the very final race of the season. So we go back up the hill towards the Schumacher. Nils Kor clips the back at 10. Simon Povey clips the side of Nils Kor. They go over the hill and Povey's around.
Oh my god, that's going to definitely be the thumbnail when it hit me in the right direction. Thank you so much.
23 cars.
Good evening, everybody. Welcome to Chaz Draycott Media, and welcome to another round of the FTR Events Production Car Challenge Plus. I'm delighted to be here in the commentary box of the Charlotte Motor Speedway, the legendary Roval, for the second round of this multi-class championship. Happy New Year to those of you that have obviously watched the broadcast before and now come to join us for this one. We hope you had a fantastic Christmas and New Year. It is very, very good to be back. I'm not alone in the commentary box though, and I'm delighted to have with me for this round and the rest of the season my good friend and TCR World Tour commentator, Paul Jeffrey. Paul, fantastic to be back with you again. Great to finally get you on an iRacing broadcast after all this time. How are you? How was your New Year? And what do you reckon to this series and tonight?
Hello, mate. Hello. It's wonderful to be here. Thank you for having me with you. Hello, everybody watching on Chaz Draycott Media on YouTube. Wonderful to be with you tonight. And to answer your question, sir, the New Year and Christmas or holiday celebrations were wonderful. Thank you very much. But now, first one of the year for me. So very much looking forward to dusting off the commentary cobwebs, so to speak. And for this championship, Chaz, these are my kind of cars, man. These are touring car type vehicles, small, low-powered tin tops. Let's just forget the Mazda for a moment and pretend it's got a top. This is what I'm all about, and I love me a Roval trike. So I think tonight or this morning, this afternoon, wherever you are in the world, I reckon this one's going to be pretty good, I must say.
It should be a good laugh. Let's not forget 4 different classes in this series, and led currently by this man, Giovanni Romano, won the first round of the season in the BMW M2s in terrific fashion, and he's looking for the second victory of the season in Team Huge Ass. Fantastic team name, lovely livery. Reminds me of the old, I think Ed mentioned it in round 1 as well, the old Renault Lagunas of the British Touring Car Championship with the yellow and the blue. We also have the GR86s, an interesting car to have in the mix really though, Paul. It's a very underpowered car, but really nimble and nippy in the corners, like a little GT5 spec car, isn't it?
Yeah, and what's really cool about this car, it's often one of the sort of models that people that come to iRacing for the first time, they kind of exposed to this one relatively early in their iRacing journey. So a lot of drivers that are racing today or they're watching the broadcast at home, they'll be more familiar with this car, I would think, than some of the other cars that are available in the service. Does familiarity breed happiness or contempt? That's going to be the big question, because it is not that kind of car that it's a love it or loathe it type vehicle, isn't it, on iRacing? And I think around a track like this Charlotte Roval, which is a mix of fast corners and a lot of sort of like big acceleration and deceleration zones, I think this is going to be quite a weapon around here, mate.
Yeah, I think it'll be really, really nimble around this place. It's not so much about the high-speed banking, but just how well it can handle the corners around here. I remember when this car first came to the service, John Coombs has a big old sideways moment, and then another little reminder from the car. This thing was rolling over, it had that much grip in its first appearances on iRacing. If you went really slowly into a corner and sort of think Monaco or Macau hairpins, if you went that slowly and that tight and suddenly floored it, the car would literally grip up so much on its outside wheels that it would flip itself over. It has insane amounts of mechanical grip, let alone for that huge rear wing underneath it, on top of it at the back. But these things, no rear wings, and like you just mentioned, Paul, no tin tops for these in the MX-5s, but a great riot of a car though, isn't it, this thing? It's always sideways, it's always floating about, it's a real inertia-based race car.
Well, before we'd talk more about the Mazda, can we all take a moment, please, folks at home, to appreciate the irony of Chaz talking about the GR86 and its bagfuls of grip as it was going sideways
yes.
on screen. That's always wonderful. As his Playdays bus seesawing at the steering wheel to keep it in a straight line, as Chaz is saying, yeah man, thing rolls over, it's got that much grip.
Yeah, true. I have killed myself with the irony there, but yeah,
you're absolutely right. It's a great bit of kit though, and I mean, we can't forget this thing. It would run for 80,000 miles on one tank, the Volkswagen Jetta TDI Cup, which raced in the SCCA umbrella for a long old time. It's got the stiffest suspension in the world, it's got the dullest engine note in the world, but it is an absolute wagon, and we are going to enjoy seeing it again tonight. Jake Cranstone, the first driver to take a win there in the series, as there's a massive accident down at turn 1. But he took it over Stephen King and Eric Manintveld. Cranstone winning a previous championship in the Jetta on my channel as well, the British Boring Car Championship in the past. But it was Romano, Sharp, Pearson and Cranstone winning their respective classes at the first round at Navarra. And it looks to me, Paul, like in the first practice session that we've just had there, it might be a similar result in this race as well, because they've all topped their own classes in that session.
Yeah, predictions obviously go straight out of the window the first sign of any kind of combat on the racetrack. This is one of those circuits, Chaz, isn't it? It's a Roval configuration, so for the Europeans amongst us, we don't tend to see these very often at all. But it's one of those tracks where you really can make a mistake here. Things can go wrong, and when they do go wrong, they go wrong very heavily indeed.
Yes. Yeah, it's a very odd circuit with the fact that it's got this huge banking, quite a lot of runoff in places, but in parts of the circuit like this, it feels like a street circuit because you've got the undulation, you've got the tight corners, but you've got constant walls next to you absolutely everywhere. This is an important part of the circuit. The left-hander there through turn 8 onto the oval banking because the car is going to try and set itself up. And, well, so it's going to upset itself, I should say, on the transition from the flat surface to the banked oval. But also, you've got the fact that there's that wall on the inside as well. Drivers will be trying to get as close to that as possible to try and clip it and obviously rotate the car as much as they can. And this chicane too. Oh, so important with the massive, massive curbs on these little left and right-handers.
Yeah, the confusion that the real-life NASCAR drivers experienced at that chicane was absolutely hilarious. But it's one of those tracks. Rovals, they really are quite Marmite. A lot of people don't like them. I personally do. But what I like about Charlotte, in comparison to a lot of Rovals out there, it is a proper, bona fide, good quality infield racetrack.
Yes.
As you say, there's undulations, there's different corner gradients. The circuit, the surface is not absolutely butter smooth like you tend to get on an oval. So it really is a thorough, proper racetrack that just happens to sit inside of an oval and use a bit of said oval. I've got a lot of love for this track, I must admit.
Yeah.
And I do like this one. I think it's usually produces entertaining racing.
Yeah, you get a feeling with a lot of rovals that they are secondary to an oval. You know, they feel very tacked on, but this feels, hello Richard, this feels like its very own sort of purpose-built circuit. Like a lot of thought and time and effort went into making this a step higher than all the other rovals in the world. I know that Texas in particular has a very good roval circuit, despite the fact that, once again, it is one of these very tacked-on versions. But I think this is a very well refined and well put together version of it. Also beautifully painted as well. There's some great markings around the track. Interesting line there taken by Alex King in the M2, using a lot of the apron on the left hand side in his BMW. But this is another car that's a great laugh, isn't it, Paul? The one make BMW M2 CS. BMW have always made great race cars, no matter what class it's in. But this M2 CS, in its own class as such, it's not a GT4 car, it's not a GT3, it's not even GT5 spec. It's just a mega... it's like a track day beast, isn't it? That's a full-blown race car.
Yeah, it really is. Very benign car to drive. You can really swing this car around. It doesn't want to bite you. It doesn't want to hurt you like you get in a lot of purpose-built race cars. It is friendly to the driver. Doesn't mean it's boring, not by any stretch of the imagination. No. It's a momentum car, obviously, but you can get the thing really swinging through the corners. Sometimes that helps, sometimes it hinders. But what we have seen with the BMW M2 CS racing, regardless of sim platform, we've seen it in iRacing today, it's in other platforms as well, always allows the drivers to have good hard racing, because you're focusing on the battle, not keeping the thing pointing in a straight direction. And that's why I love this car. And plus it looks like a touring car, which will always curry favour with me.
Yeah, absolutely. It really is a touring car with a bit more oomph in it, isn't it? It's a really, really good looking car. At the moment it's Giovanni Romano fastest. Speaking of good looking cars, Ben Chalcraft is second. We were ogling this one beforehand, the AC Schnitzer looking livery, but with Solitaire and Wintershall branding on it, courtesy of Ben himself. Currently second quickest. Tom Mayle is next up in the Ainsley Harriott liveried car, and that is the top three in the M2s. It's then Evan Campbell quickest in the GR86s, as Austin Farr goes up to second position. This is the Flying Donut livery, very striking indeed. We've got João Marta Costa. He didn't make many friends at Navarra. He had a bit of a scruffy time, a few poor rejoins and decisions, but he's hoping to put all that behind him and improve this next time round, as Bremer goes quickest and then Costa goes quickest in his class, swapping the two around. But the GT86s, or the GR86s I should say, Paul, very close in terms of lap time with the MX-5s right now, and that's going to be interesting come the race.
Yeah, that's going to provide a strategic element for our drivers to understand, is how hard do you want to race those drivers around you? Of course, everybody looks to the top of the timing screen, the front of the field, to who wins overall. But for classes here, you've got to be intelligent as a driver. You've got to focus on the class in which you are racing, because purely and simply, that's where the points are paid. That's what's going to matter in the championship. Do you want to squabble with cars that are a similar pace in a different class? Really difficult decision point. It's 100 minutes this race. It's not a short event, but again, Chaz, we've seen it so many times. A little bit of time loss here and there you don't think matters. When the checker waves, that could be a really big difference between success or failure.
Yeah, I mean, look at a pit stop, for example. You know, if you lose a second to somebody in the pits, that is a massive amount of time considered. So, you know, if you lose a tenth or two every lap and you think, you know, it's not that bad, I'm on a similar pace to said driver ahead of me or whatever, it adds up. It really does add up very quickly. And like you said, it's a long old race for that to add up as well. We're going to be doing a lot of laps of this place. I thought for a second that we'd switched over to taxi driving simulator instead of iRacing as we went on board with Jake Cranstone in the Volkswagen Jetta, but I tell you what, I love this thing. It sounds like two paper cups being dragged over a table with a diesel undertone. It's just brilliant. Really brilliant car. But the fun thing about the Jetta is if it's not turning in enough, you just put more lock on and just keep it pinned. It's so grippy. It's just awesome. But Jake mastering it at the moment, fastest by over 0.4 of a second. There is only 0.003 of a second between the top two in the MX-5s at the minute. Owens 0.003 ahead of Bremer. A little bit more of a gap in the GR86s and the M2s. But right now, it is Miles Owens still quickest in car number 74. He's doing a great old job.
Yeah, fabulous looking livery as well. Arno Winter's vehicle there, we see it on screen. Beautiful car, the MX-5 Global Cup, of course, a very famous car all around the world. Massively popular, Miata, Mazda, depending on what part of the world is how you call it. Same end result though, it's good for things like that, going sideways. It's a nimble race car, it's light on its toes, you can throw it around as a driver, keep that momentum of course, that's always going to be very, very important. But for a driver, this is a car that talks to you a lot, Chaz, behind the wheel. It really lets you know what it's doing. And if you can get over the god-awful engine note, it's a fabulous, fabulous car to drive.
Yeah, absolutely right. It really does sound like it's complaining, doesn't it, everywhere it goes. It's like, please, I just want a break. I can't do any more than what I'm doing. But yeah, it's a really, really good fun car. I remember when I first came to iRacing and they had the older version of the MX-5. I joined in 2014, so it was 2 years before this version of the car came along. But this one is so much faster, it's crazy. It's really, really weird how much quicker it is, but yeah, it's a really lively bit of kit, a lot of fun to drive. And just looking at who's not put lap times in yet, John Payton is one of them in the GR86, and that's going to be another one that does not count. He's got 2 minutes left to go, and it's about 1.5 minutes a lap here, so if he can get on with it for this final sector, he should be alright. Bit of damage on that front left corner, which is clearly he's been pushing a little bit too hard. We also don't have Pedro Barbosa or Miguel Sousa setting lap times at the moment. They are not in the session. I believe they might, at this point, be just having pit lane starts. One of the prettiest cars in the field, Alejandro Garcia de la Mata. You're wondering what is the matter at the moment as he goes back to the pit lane. The car was not facing the right way. There's Chris Flamion in one of the other huge-ass cars. But we keep our eyes on John Payton now, Paul, as he starts his final lap of this qualifying session.
Yeah, we've got the onboard shot here. You can see the speed in the bottom right-hand corner. Let's take a look then at this beautiful Charlotte Roval racecourse. You wouldn't know it was a Roval. The barriers are all around you. Chaz mentioned it already at the top of the show. Very street circuit-esque in its appearance. There are a lot of corners where you've got to leave the apex so late. You feel like you're running out of racetrack. This being one of them. It goes on forever and ever and ever. Be careful on the throttle. Don't get too greedy or run to the outside of the track. Confidence, Chaz. Confidence, experience and muscle memory are so important around here, aren't they?
Yeah, definitely. Absolutely. You know, you have to be so committed and on the momentum. Looks like John not too confident with some of the corners. He's trying to throw it in quite hard by the look of it and then realising a little mistake on the exit, but he continues to push on over the remainder of the lap. Into the chicane he goes. Very daunting. We'll go back on board actually just so you can see. We'll see what you cannot see, and he's decided that lap is done, unfortunately, and that is going to be the end of the session from his standpoint. We still have Chris Schofer around there. He's only driving himself around this time instead of somebody else. Eric Manintveld in the Jetta is the final one of those on the circuit in the Masters of Blobby livery. It's usually Masters of Torque, but for a charity event they changed it to a Mr. Blobby livery because I simply hated Mr. Blobby so much, and now they've got rid of that. And luckily we don't have to look at it any longer, as we will have the qualifying session complete. There'll be a warm-up session now for the drivers so they can go and have a wee, they can go and obviously have a drink and whatever else. But interestingly here, Paul, the sun looks like it is fading fast, and if we look at the weather, it is 4:45. It's the December the 15th, the actual date in sim. So the sun is going to be going down a lot earlier. The pressure is clearly the pressure of the sun at over 3.4 million HPA. But the important thing is it's going to be getting darker and darker here, isn't it?
It is indeed. It very much looks like a 3.4 million HPA kind of day. When I was looking at the screen, I thought that's about where it is. And you've proven it with a statistic I've never heard of. So that's always good. But it's going to be interesting, this race. I am looking forward to it. It is a long distance, so quote, long distance race at 100 minutes in length. But we saw last time round in the opening race of the season at Navarra, the drivers don't treat this one, Chaz, as an endurance event at all. It is all guns blazing from the green flag, and I've got a feeling that's going to catch a few people out in this race, and we're going to see a few names that perhaps we expected to be at the sharper end of the field might be in a little bit of trouble over these opening few laps.
Yeah, I'm excited to see what the traffic element is like as well, actually, because at Navarra, as you can imagine, it was rather lively to say the least. The amount of traffic that they had to deal with and how often they had to deal with it as well. The leaders came up on the back markers very quickly. The Jettas suddenly made their way past loads of MX-5s, even some GR86s at points, because the Jetta is so fast mid-corner. But I think round here, with the banking, it's going to be a bit of a break for them traffic-wise, and it's going to be down to the power. I mean, that BMW in a straight line is so quick. It has such a massive power advantage over other cars. I'm wondering if we can get a view of it from somebody somewhere. If there's any beamers about, we'll go on some left rear cameras here and have a look back at people, see if there's any BMs chasing anyone down, because it's scary how quickly it goes by. Oh, there's an MX-5 going into the wall. They probably wouldn't have wanted us to show that, but there's not much difference in power between the other cars, which is what's going to be an exciting element of this. I think that it's mainly just down to different cornering speeds, and that's what set them apart at Navarra. I think there's even more high-speed corners here, really, because it's a very flowing circuit, isn't it? There's no sharp, short Tilkedrome sections.
Yeah, and thank goodness for that one, it has to be said.
Yes.
You've got to be a bit brave. You need something we've not really spoken about that I think's possibly going to rear its ugly head over the course of the next 100 minutes or so. You've got to skirt very, very close to those walls indeed. If you can leave a little smudge of paint on the walls just to maximise the full length of the racetrack, hello, that's a pit entry. It got a little bit dicey. Well practiced though, well played boys. That's going to be vital. As Chaz, we've got a bit of a replay going off here.
Yes, this is just to give an idea of what they're dealing with on the pit entry as well, because obviously with this being an endurance race, they've got to get it stopped, they've got to get it in, and you can see that they are really fighting with the car on the way into pit lane. So I'm excited to see who gets that wrong in the race, because surely there will be some. We'll go on board with Austin Farr in the BMW. Oh, as an MX-5 tries to rearrange the wall in the background. Hopefully we get long enough of this to show Austin's pace here. Yeah, there's just under 2 minutes left. Well, we ride on board with the Beamer. You can see they do have to put a lot of lock on in this car. It's not like it's oversteery as hell. It's understeery mid-corner, and then it's when you're on the power that it's a bit of a nightmare. But you can see here he's catching up to one of the Volkswagen Jettas in front, and you'll get an idea on the banking of just how much power this BMW has. It really does have an amazing amount of kick out of the corners. As he gets on the power now, he can't even feed it all the way on yet. But as he goes up the revs, it doesn't sound that quick, but watch this Jetta appear from behind the mirror now. It is so fast on the banking in comparison. It's an absolute joke.
Yeah, that's going to be very helpful working your way through traffic as well, because they're easy overtakes, they're low risk, straightforward. You haven't got to worry about the knowing to get out of the way or actually stay on the racing line, folks, when you're being overtaken by a different class. That's really helpful for the BMWs, and I must say, that bit of on board, that was a very casual, easy does it looking drive at that moment in time, so the car looks like it's well sorted around here.
Yeah, definitely. It really is a car that gives you a lot as a driver, you know. I mean, over them curbs it seemed a bit dramatic, but yeah, it's definitely a car that it gives you a lot of feedback, and everybody that I've spoken to that has driven it, I unfortunately haven't driven it yet, but everyone I've spoken to has said it's an absolute treat of a car to drive, a real driver's car. Is very sideways in front. There goes one of the Jettas. That's Jake Cranstone in car 78, having a bit of a wiggle. But Austin and a few other drivers in this series, it's their home race. We have 2 rounds in America over the course of the season, but it's great to see not just a European contingent here, actually, Paul. There's a lot of American and Canadian presence in the series as well.
Yeah, really nice. It's really nice to see so many people involved. Oh, yowzers! It's that, ladies and gentlemen, is what happens when one hits concrete barriers. A bad time is ensued for all. Good damage model, by the way. I do love to see that in iRacing, by the way.
Yes.
Really nice damage model. That's criminally underrepresented in motorsport simulations is damage.
Yeah, my CPU doesn't like it, though. Let's have a look at the grid then for this, and it's Giovanni Romano, winner of race 1, taking pole position. Austin Farr will start alongside him on that front row, nearly half a second down, though. Absolutely incredible stuff by Giovanni so far. Tom Mayle is next up, looking for a bit of a cleaner run through this race from 3rd on the grid. Richard Cawthorne going well in 4th spot. Then it's Alejandro Garcia de la Mata in 5th place. Antonio Alvarez joins him on row 3. Ben Chalcraft starts from 7th alongside Alex King, who has said in the chat that his livery was underappreciated last time, and I hate to disagree, Alex, but it absolutely wasn't. We love that thing. It looks wonderful. We will definitely show more of it this time round. Connor Hatfield in 9th position in car 00. I hate that, Connor, and you know it by now. Pedro Barbosa is 10th ahead of Miguel Sousa, and then Austin Tucker is the head of the GR86 class. We then have João Marta Costa in 13th, Evan Campbell 14th ahead of John Coombs, the race, third place finisher in the GR86 at Navarra, ahead of Ron Wolf. We then have Chris Schofer in 17th with Georg Gruber in 18th. Paul Hendricks, Jimmy's brother, is 19th, and John Payton completes the top 20. Dan Pepples finished third at Navarra. He starts from pole position this time alongside Miles Owens on the front row. Ivan Bremer is 23rd, ahead of Martin Pearson, with whom he shares row 12. Tom Weston is next up, ahead of Chris Flamion. Then it's Matt Acton and Justin Michaela next up. Martin Pearson, let's not forget, was the winner last time out and starts here fourth in class. Jake Cranstone won at Navarra in the Jettas. He was the outright winner by a long shot in that class. John Bailiff is in second position. Eric Manintveld got a podium, so too did Stephen King last time. They've started off well, qualifying on the second row of their class. Sam Van Olst starts 33rd with Patrick Dopart 34th. Jack Johns, good to have him back on my screens. Car 35 is P35, ahead of Stephen Burns in 36th. Then it's Donny Alpha Henriksen in 37th, and Jeremy Agard, the Swiss driver, not quite sticking to Swiss time there, Paul, but completes the grid.
Yeah, beautiful field of cars, Chaz. Wonderful lineup of cars on a wonderful racetrack. And I am looking forward to seeing what the next 100 minutes of virtual automotive goodness brings. My vote, this first few laps, is going to be very, very important for setting the tone for each driver's individual chances of success.
Yeah, definitely. You have to be very, very careful around a circuit like this. It's not one that lets you get away with anything. A lot of Rovals can be quite forgiving sometimes, but I really don't think that this one will be. This is the wonderful livery of Austin Tucker that we feasted our eyes on last time out. It's got a horrendously long name. It's got memes and rainbows and chrome all over it. It's one of the Hugh Jass cars, actually, but they've decided to make a bit of a meme livery out of it, and it's horrendous / brilliant. We've then got a 1, 2, 3 for Dan Pepples, Miles Owen and Ivan Bremer at the front of their class. Martin Pearson was the only one that could really throw the fight to them at Navarra, and he took the win in the end. Then we have the Diesel Brigade, the Jettas. A lot of these guys raced together in the Racing Line Jetta Cup in the past, so they all know each other very well. They all used to absolutely flood the iRacing official races with their names as well. I'm pretty sure that all of them actually used to race against each other. We've got Paul Hendricks, unfortunately, into the pit lane in that gorgeous livery in car 34. Miguel Sousa and Pedro Barbosa not taking to the start. But in terms of the traffic here, Paul, do you reckon that the GR86s are going to get swallowed up by the MX-5s early, or do you think they'll hold it?
I reckon it's going to be an absolute disaster zone of people going left, right and centre to make their way through. And you know what? We wouldn't have it any other way, Chaz. I think it's going to be a feast for the eyes this evening, I am sure.
Evan Campbell has had some drama at the chicane, it seems. A few cars have come together in the GR86s, and they're having to fix that before they get going. The classes are all separated, and we're getting ready for round number 2 of the FTR Events Production Car Challenge Plus here in 2025. It's Giovanni Romano and Austin Farr on the front row of the grid, and Giovanni has gunned it as soon as the lights have come on, and he heads down towards turn 1 on the inside line. Austin on the outside. Is he going to be able to carry the pace around there? Is Tom Mayle going to be able to sneak through down the inside as well? No, Giovanni's got the lead. Can Tom actually keep it down there? You can hear them lifting off very close side by side through there, Paul, as they make it cleanly through the first couple of corners. It's now down to the GR86s to follow suit, and Marta Costa's got a great lead.
Yeah, that's a beautiful start for Costa. Exactly what the doctor ordered at the early stages of this race. Try and jump away as much as possible. We're looking at John Coombs, car number 24, in a bit of strife and a little bit of contact as well. Great bit of driving, though, to keep it on the straight and narrow, Chaz. Car tyres are cold. Drivers need to be absolutely on their tiptoes in these early stages.
Yeah, tyres are cold, brains need to be warm, and look at this already. The Jetta's right up behind the MX-5s. They look absolutely tank-like, chasing down these tiny little machines, but it's John Bailiff that leads the way in class. Jake Cranstone is actually in the pits with damage. Jake Cranstone has been off the circuit and has had a drama right at the start. Race 1 winner at Navarra has been round the Mazdas at the very start of the race. What on earth has happened here? Oh, dearie me.
Oh, that's mega unfortunate. You've got to take these risks, and you said it, Chaz. Are they going to make their way through the Masters quickly at the early start of this race? When you've got to take the chances, when you need to grab the initiative, so to speak, that's the risk you take. The outside line's always a little bit leery. You would argue it's probably easy to spot that car. It's humongous, as here is a pass in the BMW. Oh, not quite enough room.
Nearly by Austin Farr. So near yet so far, you could say, trying to get the lead off Giovanni Romano. Tom Mayle in third place will now be just sort of holding his breath to see what happens. Richard Cawthorne tries to get past one of the prettiest cars in the field, Alejandro Garcia de la Mata, in that gorgeous Inosis Esports M2. Big slide from him. He's going to come back over to the left and say, no thank you, Richard, you are not going around the outside there. I love how squatted down that BMW looks, though. It looks so... Well, I was going to say it looks so planted and flat, but really it slides around like it's made of lettuce, doesn't it? It's just absolutely everywhere all the time. Looks like Alejandro not that confident at the moment here, Paul.
Yeah, he does seem to be a little bit struggling. It seems like Cawthorne has the advantage at this moment in time. And we said this one at the top of the show. It's a benign car. It's a car that is sliding and slippy and sliding, but you can manage that risk quite easily in these kind of cars, in these kind of conditions, and good racing ensues. There's another one of the Jettas making their way through. Man, I love that car. I have forgotten about the VW Jetta until I see it on screen, and I just want more of that 108,000 miles on the clock certified guaranteed Volkswagen Jetta.
Oh yeah, that one has definitely been turned back from a 4, hasn't it? After a long stint in Magaluf or something.
It's really been dialed back. Sam Van Olsten, the 92 machine, flying at the front of the Jettas now, ahead of John Bailiff, Eric Manintveld. Eric Manintveld, let's not forget, finished on the podium at Navarra. He's going to be hoping to chase once again a podium finish. Devastating stuff for Jake Cranstone. He is coming back out on the circuit though after towing to the pit lane and having his fast repair completed, so he'll be pleased with that. But it is currently the MX-5s now passing some of the back markers in the GR86s. So John Payton there trying not to get in the way of these guys. He knows what the game is. There's a big slide there by car 38, Justin Michaela, as he now gets caught. Who is that behind? Is that Martin Pearson? It is. Pearson goes through. He was the race winner in the first race of the season, but he got caught up in the accident with Jake Cranstone and the rest of the Jettas getting through. I think a lot of the classes, Paul, they seemed to wait until the line, or at least the MX-5s did. They waited to the line to get going, whereas all the other classes went as soon as it was green. So I think that's where the confusion ensued. That was Austin. Austin Farr is around and Tom Mayle's into him. Oh, they're all around. What on earth is happening at the chicane?
Feels like the first NASCAR race all over again. We've got to go the other direction, boys. It's not working out well at all. We've lost, 3-4 cars involved in that one. So that's a big change really early in the race as well, Chaz. There's time to make it back up again, but you don't want to be making that mistake. Take us through what's happening with Tom Mayle.
I think there might have been some debris or some marbles or something here, because look how easily he goes around. Then Tom Mayle goes into him, and look behind them as well, watch. Both cars spin in the background in exactly the same fashion. That's a really, really odd incident, that is. We'll go back to an outside view and have a look at these guys. It was Alejandro Garcia de la Mata, so the guys ahead will have an incident. You'll just see that through the bottom of shot, look. They have a bit of a slide, but watch this. This is synchronised swimming from these boys. And then they all go around. Incredible.
A little bit of sympathy mistakes there. You see the incident happening in front of you, and before you know it, you're joining that party. But the big takeaway from that one is who's got terminal damage, or who's going to need to get down pit lane and have a long stop to repair their car. That's going to put them completely off of sync for the rest of their field in that particular BMW class. That's interesting for us because that's a storyline to follow as the race unfolds. If they can get themselves back into the game at the front of the field at the very least. John Coombs, though, he's delighted about this one because now that's moved that car right the way up to second in class and all over the back of Costa. This could be a slipstream opportunity for the position.
Absolutely could be. The GR86s do slipstream very well. That big old wing on the back punches quite the hole in the air, and they need it, but no, he's lifting out of that one. He's going to sit, well, I was going to say he's going to sit behind him for now, gives him a bit of a kiss on the way into the chicane, misjudges the length of the bonnet, but some of these guys will be thinking about fuel saving in the early stages. It's much easier to save fuel around a circuit like this compared to Navarra. Obviously with the banking and the amount of the lap where you're flat out, it's going to be a lot easier. There's a bit of Red Arrows formation flying here, but with PD130 engines, with the Jettas and the MX-5 in the middle of it all. That's car number 14. That is Matt Acton. And he's going to have to, try and avoid contact, I was going to say, but he gets shimmied out of the way by one of the Jettas. There's a big off. Oh, that's Manintveld. Manintveld into the barriers. His wheels come off and his teammates involved in it as well. Stephen Burns.
Oh, Oh dear, oh dear, oh dear. We did suggest that those concrete barriers might be a little bit painful. Let's take another look at this one again. A lot of curb at the first part of the corner, then we just run out of racetrack. Bad landing straight into the barriers, and unfortunately it is pinball time for the rest of the field. That's what happens when you have close pack racing. One car drops it and that becomes several other drivers' problems, and I think with a wheel so deranged as that one, as we see Thomas Weston off the racetrack as well. Lights are ablaze, hopefully he rejoins in a safe manner, and yes, the MX-5 on its merry way again to have another adventure.
I was going to say lights ablaze, let's hope his brain is as well when he rejoins. It's not quite a Mazda 787 that he's driving at the moment. It's not quite got the noise, it's not quite got the anything, but yeah, he's managed to at least keep it clean. It's a lovely just plain white livery on that car. I think it looks very good for it. I quite like the idea of it's almost like a privateer entry MX-5. I really like that. But he's going to try and stick with the Jetta now. Look at the size of the thing when you're up behind it. It's like a housing block with diesel power in it. It's just absolutely awesome. But yeah, there was a number of incidents at the chicane there that are easy to fall by the wayside under. It's a very tricky circuit in that regard. But wow, a busy start to this race. Multiple Jettas involved, multiple GR86s hopping over curbs, and at the moment there's only 4 of the GR86s separated by about 8 seconds. The rest of them are sort of tucked away in the MX-5s, as that is Costa into the wall. Costa smacks the wall on the exit of turn 1 and loses the class lead. I'd be surprised if that hasn't damaged the steering as well, Paul. That was a big old hit.
Yeah, that was a hard bit of contact with the ball. Let's have a look now. We're on board with Costa, actually. Go on, Sunshine. I was looking for any kind of damage, and he's raised lead again to the inside. Brave as you like. That's going to be the optimal position, but it's a little bit tight. Will he get the car round? Yes, he does. In fact, that is quite an easy overtake. Well done, Mr. Costa. That was rather impressive with a car that you're not quite sure if it's still pointing it straight in the direction.
Yeah, he just thought, you know what, put that to the back of the mind and get back in the lead of the race. That was absolutely epic by Jean-Martin Costa. Really committed stuff. Like I said earlier, not to make too much of a thing of it, but he had a bit of a nightmare at Navarra, and he'll be wanting to put that behind him. And right now he's trying to do that with a great battle. Back down the inside goes John Coombs into the class lead, gets it stopped nicely. Costa's turned him, and through goes Austin Tucker into the lead. Oh, I think it's just, well, oh no, there's more cars crying. No, that was not good for the number 15. I don't even know what words I was trying to get out for Ron Wolf there, but that was not good by Jean-Martin Costa. I was just saying he wants to put it behind him, and that's a bit more of the same sort of behaviour, I'm afraid. It was just very, very clumsy.
Yeah, for Costa, just like his namesake coffee restaurant, that was massively disappointing. As he's straight into the walls.
I knew you were the right person to get on the job, Paul. This man at the moment, though, Giovanni Romano, well, all the drama's behind him. He's going to be bored out front. When he sees the race back, he's going to be thinking, flipping heck, I wish I was involved in actually some of that, Stuff Championship points. I want to be back there. Giovanni, I'm not a fan of how he exits the chicane, but you know what? Needs must. And he's doing an epic job. He is now 4.2 seconds ahead of Tom Mayle. Let's not forget, credit to Tom, he got caught up in the incident earlier on, so the car might not be perfect, and he also had to lose a lot of time, but Giovanni is absolutely flying. It's Antonio Alvarez in 3rd place at the moment. Seems like there's only a spec map on this car at the moment. Doesn't seem to be reloading the livery. I will give that a bit of a refresh, so bear the white cars for just a moment. Ben Chalcraft is just behind him, albeit very wide at the chicane. Ben trying to push on for a podium position. We'll go back and see, even the GR86 looks big against the MX-5 here, Paul. This is even Bremer and Georg Gruber.
Yeah, it's ridiculous, isn't it? I love these sort of multi-class kind of different cars, different specs, different ways of going about racing. Hey, there's some livery, which is always nice. Gruber into the chicane, being very cautious is Gruber in the GR86, and that's wise at this moment in time. He's just assessing where the opportunity might present itself to make that move. We've seen a few drivers be a little bit spicy, a little bit enthusiastic in their manoeuvres in the early parts of the race, and now it is, the price gets paid by those mistakes, so we need to calm it down. There's still an hour 28 left on the clock, Chaz. Plenty of racing still to do. you don't want to make a mistake, because if you do it early doors, you're going to pay the price basically all the way through the race, and that makes for a very long time.
Yeah, you never want to be on the back foot. You never want to be playing catch-up throughout a race like this. Is, oh my goodness me, Tom Weston only just slides underneath Sam Van Olt's Jetta there, and I think he was genuinely underneath it for a moment there, for a couple of frames. Van Olt doesn't want to give this up though, and right now if we go on board with Patrick Dopart, it may be the most dull soundtrack of the lot, but he is in a great position here to try and gain a place on his class leader. He's already been held up by the fact that the MX-5 has taken back an overall position, but yeah, you can just see here how close these Jettas can race one another. That's one of the best things of it. I mean, you know it very well, Paul, from touring car racing. Some of the finest forms of racing in the world, because production cars like this, they can lean on each other. They can have a bit of contact here and there. You can get away with it. The car won't be ruined for the end of the race, and that just makes it all the more exciting because the drivers know it. Sometimes it's not a great thing that the drivers know it. They take it for granted. But in a series like this, when, especially in the Jetta class, they've all been racing together for multiple years, they know where the limit is. They know who to worry about, who not to worry about, and I think it's a fantastic spectacle.
Oh, it really is. When God invented motor racing, he thought about the Volkswagen Jetta diesel. It is an absolutely, on paper, it's the most ridiculous car you could wish to go motor racing in, but it really is. It looks the business, it drives the business, yikes, and it also collects concrete barriers with absolutely no sweat whatsoever.
Yeah. So
normally it's pedestrians that it'll be running into and other parked cars, but it's concrete in the racing version and carries on unperturbed, unlike the BMW that looks decidedly second-hand on the front end there.
Now this is the low downforce spec version of the BMW M2 CS that Alex King is driving at the moment. This is the phenomenal Luigi Mangione livery, the number 3 machine. That's Austin Farr underneath him on the apron, trying to overtake Richard Cawthron actually. These three are battling for position, but obviously Austin King is now losing time and position as a result of that damage. I was just going to say before about the Jetta actually, Paul, you've heard the story I'm sure of the Alfa Romeo 155s in the British Touring Car Championship back in the day, when they said you can't run it with a rear wing on it because the road car doesn't come with a rear wing, so Alfa Romeo started selling them with rear wings in the boots. I've heard that actually the Volkswagen Jetta comes with a 24 pack of those tin foil takeaway trays in the boot as well actually when you buy them, and a free Bluetooth headset from China.
Outstanding. It also comes with a jacket that says a fast food takeaway firm's name on it. That
usually called Flames, aren't they?
Yeah, exactly. It is the classic car in every sense of the word, and so far so good. It's producing a decent race down in the VW Jetta category. What's really interesting for me, Chaz, though, as we're getting into sort of the first few moments of this race and things are settling down,
yes,
there are a lot of drivers displaced from what we expected. There's not 4 groups of cars circulating in packs. Everybody's a bit everywhere at the moment, and it's quite a tense time for a driver, this one, isn't it? Because I'm struggling to follow what's happening, to be perfectly frank. So how are you going to do that behind the wheel? It's going to be a real challenge. It's hard for these drivers at this stage, isn't it?
Yeah, definitely. I think when you're behind the wheel in a series like this, you have to just take every lap as it comes, take every car that you go past as it comes as well. You cannot guarantee anything. You cannot sort of bank on anything either. You just got to run your race, make every lap as good as you can. And I think it's interesting because it's the usual sort of reversal of the endurance sort of mindset. You know, you think, oh, I'm not going to bother going down the inside here, you know, it's a long goal race, I don't have to make a move there. I think in something like this with so many classes in it and such a variation in pace, you have to go for every move that you can as soon as possible, because you don't know when the traffic is going to swing in the other driver's favour rather than yours. And, you know, moments like this now where Richard Cawthron is probably going to get a freebie out of Connor Hatfield because Austin Farr has put him offline, he's gone down the inside, and that serves Connor right for running the number 00.
Good move there by Richard. It was a nice opportunity. I want to take a moment, though, to just step away from the racing, if I may, and just congratulate you, Chaz Draycott, and Chaz Draycott Media as well, for the beautiful pictures. You've done some fettling, and you know me, and anybody who knows me, I am a bit of a vocal critic of the visuals of my racing. I do occasionally like to suggest that it could be better in places, but I've got to say, mate, it's an absolutely cracking broadcast we've got going on here.
Thank you very much.
Fantastic, and I particularly love the cockpit shot. I think that is fantastic with a little bit of, there we go, perfect, thank you very much. That's beautiful. So everybody in chat, big shout out to Chaz. what a great job he's done to put this together. It looks fantastic.
Thank you so much, Paul. It's great to have you in the box, mate. It really is. Paul, for anybody that doesn't know, has worked with me or had to suffer my my company a handful of times. We've worked together in the FIA Motorsport Games for 2022 and 2024. We did a Lamborghini Esports series together as well. We have a right laugh every time we commentate together, but this is the first time, I think, other than the Motorsport Games actually, where we've commentated properly on iRacing, on a proper league race, you know,
Commentated properly. Come on.
Yeah, we never commentate properly. We just have a laugh while a motor race breaks out. But yeah, we certainly do always have a laugh when we work together, and it's fantastic to have Paul in the box with me for this series. I know the guys were excited when I told them who I'd got, so it's great to do this. Now, Sam Van Olst here is in a bit of a pickle. He's got Matt Acton just ahead of him in the MX-5. The Jetta is actually considerably quicker in places than the MX-5. He was 6/10, actually no more than that. Actually, no, I do apologise. He was actually slower on the previous lap. But on laps before that, he was quicker than the MX-5 of Matt Acton, because simply it can just so confidently be lobbed through every corner like it's a council estate. You know, the ones with the really little roundabouts randomly placed in the middle of them. It just gets absolutely thrown about, this Jetta, and it works so well in certain corners. But I mean, look at that BMW making a mockery of it. That's just ridiculous.
I love that. I love multi-class racing. But you're right, Sam Van Olst is in a real pickle at this moment in time, because it's not a night and day difference, is it, between the two cars? So where the Jetta might be quicker, the MX-5 is going to be quicker in different parts of the racetrack. You can easily trip over each other in that kind of scenario. And for me, for my money, if I'm Van Olst, I will stay where I am until it becomes a little bit spicier between myself and car number 2 in class Depart just behind. So don't quite know what to do about this one. That's why I'm a commentator, to be perfectly honest, because decision making is not my strong point. Commentating's not my strong point either, it seems, at the moment, but decision making in particular.
Yeah, it's. I was going to say choosing a career path isn't mine. That's how I ended up as a commentator, to be honest. But my mum always said I had 30 years practice talking rubbish. I may as well get paid for it. So
yeah, exactly.
It is what it is. We've got a great battle going on here for 3rd and 4th in the GR86s. This is Ron Wolf with Austin Tucker around the outside. Austin lost a bunch of positions earlier on in the race and is now trying to recuperate them, while the number 74 Miles Owens MX-5 tries to get through as well. He's 3rd in class, while these guys squabble into the chicane. There's a bit of a wobble there. Great two-wheel action through that chicane by the GR86s. But now they have to think about Miles Owens behind them, because, like we said before, even this car makes the GR86 look like a big machine. Great sunset vibe at the moment in the background, though. Just going to check the weather, actually, and see what time it is now. 23 minutes past 5 in the sim. The air pressure is actually rising in hectopascals, which is quite interesting, but just to put it into context, sort of what we call standard air pressure in aviation is 1,013 hectopascals. That's like normal air pressure. 3.4 million is, I mean, your head would explode. That's ridiculous air pressure, but that's what iRacing has to simulate for it to provide what it does. I'm not sure about weather here, Paul. That's something we've not spoken about yet. Obviously, iRacing now has rain, it has changeable weather. It is a phenomenal system. Oh, excuse me, as Tom Weston blinks in and out. But I don't think there's any rain on the horizon or anything for the drivers to worry about in that regard. Especially if we go back on board, you can see there is cloud, but it's not threatening, really.
And that's going to be a relief for anybody that races on a roval. Rain on this part of the racetrack will make the colour of your underwear change significantly. You will not want any of that world involved in this race. It's already been frantic enough, it's already been bonkers enough all the way through all 4 classes. Speaking of bonkers, right on cue, let's have a diesel VW Jetta being hunted down by 2 BMW M2 CS Racing Cup cars. Job done, very nicely indeed. The Jetta stays out of the way, and the Beamers have a nice squabble. Austin Farr isn't very far away at all from making a move, but I think discretion, being the better part of valour, we decide to stay in position for now and have another launch on corner exit.
Yeah, I love seeing the shadows projected onto the grandstands as well, by the way, from the car headlights. The lighting on iRacing has been over time perfected bit by bit, and it certainly looks a lot better in a night scenario now. The cars don't glow, there's a lot more contrast to it. You get more of a view of the lick of flames from the exhaust, especially on cars like this BMW. You get the blue flames out the back of them. But right now, I mean, with no disrespect to Ben, it's very clear that Austin is by far, get it, the quicker car of the two, but Ben's just putting the car in the right place at the right time, and you know he's giving him the warning shots on the brakes just to be like, look, be patient with me, I know what you're doing, I know that you're quicker than me. Ben's a good driver like that, you know, he's very aware. I've been teammates with him before, and there is the opportunity for Austin Farr down the inside onto the banking. Ben knows what he's doing, he's not going to muck about, he's giving him a good amount of room, and he's just going to try and slot in behind him now to make sure he doesn't lose the place to Richard Cawthorne, or he should do, but Richard might get his nose down the inside here. There's lap traffic, that might be why. Let's see if Richard gets this then, Paul. Never mind, he's backed out. He's done the clever thing.
Yeah, that's wise. That's a smart bit of driving there. No need to get too excitable at this stage of the race. It's only going to go wrong. And the nature of this track and these cars, those positions will change within the next 2 laps anyway, the next slipstreaming opportunity. So there's no need to be gung-ho. There's no need to shut your eyes and hope for the best, because it's going to be a little bit of swapsies in the early stages of this race. You've got to think more big picture as Cawthorne almost throws the car off the road.
And now, Shellcraft on the brakes early to avoid the cars in front. Cawthorne, another great opportunistic move down the inside in car 21. They're actually caught right up now to Antonio Alvarez ahead of them. This is a podium position, so what a fantastic recovery this has been by Austin Farr. He's been in the pit lane already in this race as well. He was in the pits for 33 seconds. And just to put that into context, these guys are 23 seconds off the race leader right now. So Austin Farr is clearly on an absolute mission at this moment in time. No fuel saving, no reserve tactics or anything. He's had his incident early on, he's had the car repaired, and by Jove, as we say, he's absolutely lobbing the thing about.
By Jove.
By Jove.
I've not heard that for a very long time. Jolly good, old chap, jolly good. So, yeah, but jokes aside, Austin Farr, this has been a phenomenal bit of driving thus far for Austin. And again, another victim has been lined up into the chicane, the inside line. Will he get the job done? Yes, he's given the racing room that he commands, and that is a beautiful over the 21. A little bit further back, tries to bang into it as well. He's been given significantly less courtesy, shall we say, on that occasion. And by luck and... Whoa, hello.
Whoa. I think that was Jake Cranstone there. I think he expected to slide down below the BMW on the banking. There was a big old kiss to the right rear of Austin Farr's BMW. Luckily, the suspension isn't completely made of cracker bread and it didn't break there, but it's moments like that that'll put your heart in your mouth and, well, give you a gift in the pants, won't it?
Put your heart in your mouth, put my testicles in my mouth. They'll have travelled that far up my body in that moment in time. That would have been scary, scary, scary stuff. But we got away with it though. So nothing, no harm, no foul. And the fight continues. We check in again with Richard, still in 5th position, still trying to climb over the back of the car ahead. And it's a good bit of defending, it has to be said, from that machine in front. There's no real opportunities being presented, so it's going to take some elbows, I think, to find a way past. And let's check back in again with one of the beautiful, beautiful Jettas. It's getting dark out there at Charlotte, isn't it?
It absolutely is. Yeah, I was just thinking that, actually. We were looking at the sky not too long ago, and it looked bright and beautiful. There's a bit of blue in the sky as well. Now it's going that sort of orangey, purpley tinge with a little bit of cloud up there. But, yeah, on the infield alone, it's very, very dark right now. Gives us a fantastic view. It feels like you're driving a full-on, you know, like a truck tractor unit looking down on this little MX-5. I mean, it would still be diesel-powered. I love how it's still got the typically, like, blue and red dashboard as well. Even behind the digital dash here, you can still see the red needles. Reminds me of my friend having a Volkswagen Bora a long, long time ago as well. Proper takeaway delivery bit of kit. But Patrick Dopart, I mean, he's showing just how nifty this Jetta is in a straight line as he goes past Tom Weston's MX-5. It's not what you'd expect, but that's the thing with the Jetta. It throws up surprises. What a race car. Oh, Jack Johns just tried to have a bite of the cherry there as well, actually. He wanted to come through. Jack's had a great start to this race, you know, actually, Paul. Up 13 positions since the start, and he started right near the back of class as well. He's up to 3rd now. As down the inside goes Jack to the right-hand side, gets it done very nicely on the 23 machine. Makes it up into 2nd place in class now. What a fantastic drive this has been so far from Jack Johns, keeping it nice and tidy, doing what he can do to make it work. And I tell you what, at this present moment, Jack is looking like the guy that could potentially go on and win this class if he keeps it nice and tidy throughout. But That's the thing. You have to be consistently tidy, not just over a couple of laps. Back with Ron Wolf. He's got Chris Chauffeur just ahead of him with Ben Chalcraft's BMW. Almost looked like he was holding him up there, Paul.
Oh, nice bit of driving there. I do apologise. I had to disappear for a moment, but I'm back. What have I missed? Lots of action, it seems, and I'm loving this one. Now it's getting dark. It's looking really, really attractive at the Roval. The track temperature's going to be dropping a little bit. The confidence is going to start rising from these drivers, and I think we're going to start to see a little bit more precision driving. Ron Wolf, beautiful through the chicane, just lifting a little wheel on that GR86, but he's got the run now. The car in front of him is looking vulnerable. Bit understeering on that occasion. Great run from Ron. Hasn't looked to the inside though. Not enough room. Chauffeur just about holding on.
I mean, chauffeur, we could come up with name puns all day for both. Still, he's definitely not taking this one sitting down, you could say, is Chris. But Ron is now right down the inside, gets it done in the 15, quite literally red versus blue right now, and it is Ron that takes third position. But Chris, well, he's going to be hoping that he gives him a bit of a free ride back into that position. All the while, Miles Owens, he's constantly in this MX-5 had GR86s in front of him. He's constantly held up by them, and it must be frustrating because his teammates Ivan Bremer and Dan Peppels are way up the road now, 5 seconds and 13 seconds respectively.
That's going to be a very, very difficult gap. Of course, we saw in practice, didn't we, how you can get it very wrong or very right on pit entry. There is lap time, there is race time to be found by attacking that pit lane entry and exit if they can. So it ain't over yet. You've got to keep going. And look at that one. It's been launched over the curves.
Properly throwing it about that. That was like old school Manny Core, wasn't it, in the late 90s? That absolutely brilliant. Great commitment all the way through. And that's the thing. This is a commitment circuit. So even though it looks like these drivers will be taking it easy over certain parts of the race and on certain laps, they really cannot. It really is difficult to just get a smooth lapping around here because you have to have the car flowing for you. You know, you can't overdo it, you can't be too sharp on a change of direction. But I mean, even now you can see the marbles on the edge of the circuit as well. You go offline around here, you're going to be losing all sorts of grip, especially when it comes to lap traffic. But it is getting mighty dark there, isn't it, Paul? Really, really dark at this moment in time.
And that's something actually, Chaz, to bear in mind for sort of the folks watching at home as well. If you're kind of not used to racing in sims so much, or you're not used to day-night transitions, let's say, it's a very different prospect as a driver when the night time comes in. The reference points that you've become used to, the muscle memory that you've developed over the testing and qualifying and practice, etc., it all feels a little bit different. It all takes a few more thousandths of a second to process exactly where you are relative to where you think you should be. Not sounding like a lot on paper, but that can be the difference between kissing the wall and headbutting the wall and then punching it in the mouth afterwards for good measure. And that could end your race real quick. So it's not easy for these guys and gals out there.
No, definitely not. You know, you have to be very, very careful. And I think that, you know, it's a race that you'd have to practice a lot for. If there's any circuit on the 4-race calendar for this series that you would have to practice a lot for, this is probably the one because it's possibly the least forgiving. Evan Campbell is a driver we've not seen much of in the, I think it's the Flying Donut livery with many donuts all over it. Very shiny GR86. A lot of work has gone into the spec map of this car. Oh, Jack Johns there may have just got himself a slowdown penalty over that chicane. Not that you'll be able to tell in the Jetta. He might actually get outrun by the GR86, I'm not sure. But Jack won't want to be fighting with this GR86 because he'll want to catch this man, Sam Van Olst, who isn't too far up the road, but actually is coming into the pits. Now, we knew that the Jetta was going to be one of the first cars in because it has the most limited amount of fuel in its tank. They do have limited fuel tanks to make sure that they have multiple stops, so it's certainly going to get spicy in the pit lane for the Jettas.
How ironic is that? The diesel Jetta is the first car that needs a fuel up. Yeah. A car that will literally
go to the end.
1,000 miles on a tank.
Yeah.
No drama whatsoever. But a good pit lane entry though, because we're talking about that one, we spoke about it already, we saw it in practice. That was a nice, neat entrance in the pit lane, so no real time given up for that particular driver, and that will, you do that enough times during the course of this race, that will give you a healthy chunk of change at the checkered flag, won't it, to your advantage? Much more so than trying to find it on track, as we are side by side, VW versus Mazda. Very different cars indeed, and the VW just holding on to that inside line. Is he going to be spotted? Yes, he is. Thank goodness that Miles Owens recognised the big pink machine was there. But my goodness me, this is a battle pack of 3 very different cars, not what you'd expect to see on the Charlotte banking.
And they're all cars in different parts of the race as well. Miles Owens is 3rd in his class. Chris Schofer in the GR86 there is 4th in his class. They're racing for overall position. But Eric Maninveld is a lap down on the pair of them. But he clearly doesn't want to give any pace up at this moment. He knows it's down to class position, not overall position. So he's holding on where he can. Just to go over the fuel, by the way, you can see that BM's got so little fuel in it, it's defying gravity, with Alex King behind the wheel. But Giovanni Romano, let's have a look at him for a second. The BMW M2 has 42% of its original fuel capacity allowed in these races. The Toyota GR86, which is the secondary class, is up to, or down to 38%. The MX-5 has 43% of its usual fuel tank, and comically, as Paul pointed out, the Jetta would usually, I mean, God, these things do over 2 hours on a tank when you fill them up in endurance races. It's crazy. They have 15% of their usual fuel tank, which is just absolutely hilarious. But fair play to the organisers, because that's a gutsy thing to employ for drivers that usually obviously love this thing and do sprint races in it. It's great to employ that and bring it level. So it's all just down to pace, you know. They're not going to think, oh, we don't have to pit, we don't have to worry about these guys. They have to worry about everyone.
Yeah, I love that one. It's some really good balancing of the performance of these cars. Probably, in real and virtual racing, the hardest job in the whole world is applying a balance of performance. However you end up doing that one, whether that's fuel limiting like we're doing here, or applying weight, or changing performance, whatever it might be, it's so difficult. And as you say, massive credit to FTR Events for balancing these fields out, so we've got such entertaining races to enjoy. We enjoyed the last one, and here now at the Charlotte Roval infield course, we're having another really different track with a really great performance. Dopar that we're riding on board with at this moment in time, he's going for the race lead in the VW Jetta class.
He is indeed, and they've both pitted as well, these guys. Dopart's pit stop was actually 2 seconds quicker than Sam Van Olst. He was on the pit lane for 3 seconds less as well, so he's optimised the pit entry and exit a little bit better. But wow, they are so close together now, and they've got John Bailiff only 0.8 of a second behind that as well. So John's not out of the picture either. John did not finish on the podium in the first round of the season. It was Cranstone, King and Maninveld. None of those 3 currently on for podium finishes at this present moment. So I'm excited to see how this one pans out. You can see a bit of, well, discretion, better part of valour and all that from Ben Chalcraft once again there in the BMW, as he waited for his moment to get past these guys, but he slotted in behind. And look, even now, even though he's chasing Alvarez, that white BMW or the off-grey BMW up the road, he's chasing him for position. This is the sort of patience you want to see in multi-class racing, isn't it, Paul? Great respect here from Ben. He'll be seething, but you know what, he's doing the right thing.
Yeah, absolutely. It is so difficult as a driver to hold the water at this kind of situation. That's the opportunity. Nice and easy pass, get the inside done. Just pick people off one by one. Don't try. You see so much in racing where people will try and find 3 seconds in a lap they've never found before. They'll try and find space that doesn't exist. It doesn't work. Stay cool, stay calm, and just do what you can do. Eventually, the pieces will fall one way or the other in your direction. And a good bit of driving there as Van Olst in the Jetta gets overtaken by the BMW, but he doesn't care because he's still just leading his GR86 class. By the way, it's the Jetta class, should I say, my apologies.
Nearly 40 minutes of this race gone, and
No
there
way.
is only 1.3 seconds separating, and a wall separating the top 3 Jettas at the moment, which is absolutely incredible. It was definitely the feistiest and most level class at Navarra. It's interesting to see that a very different circuit like this one, it's still the same here as well. Jack Johns finds himself stuck behind another car in the form of John Coombs here. John is 8th in class at the moment. He finished 3rd at the first round of the season. Jack a bit close to the GR86 there, maybe worrying him slightly. Interesting though as well that Coombs, and again the GR86 class, another one where it doesn't look like we're going to get any repeat podium finishes, because in the first one of the season it was Sharp, then Vukovic, neither of which are here tonight, and then Coombs, who is down in 8th position, and at present he is a minute and a half off the class leader. Georg Gruber, I think, just missed out on a podium last time out. Austin Tucker in second position doesn't deserve a podium for his livery. And Ron Wolf, I mean, he's been fighting very hard. Gruber's actually gained 8 places so far in this race as well to lead this class. So some really, really solid and commendable drives in this GR86 class, because it's not an easy car to master.
Yeah, some really good. And to be fair, we've seen all the first 40 minutes, all of the dramas, cars being pirouetting off the racetrack left, right and centre. So just to survive is a very good effort, as Matt Acton in the Mazda MX-5 comes down pit lane. The virtual mechanics will jump over the wall, they'll get some fuel in that thing, and he'll be off on his merry way again. Peoples, that we're looking at currently leading said Mazda class, he's got himself a world of traffic to navigate through. So here you see, folks, even if you are leading your class, it doesn't mean you're having an easy time of it, because you've got very similar performance cars to navigate your way through. And it's kind of difficult for Dean, isn't it? Because if he gets wrapped up in any kind of drama, Chaz, or involved in any of the traffic, it's his race to lose at this moment in time. He can't win it from here. He can only lose it by virtue of being in a current lead.
Yeah, he's got 14 seconds, and that's over his teammate, even Bremer, as well. So, you know, he's got a really, really solid gap. Even then, Miles Owens is also his teammate. So the three of them, I imagine, will be communicating in Discord somewhere. They'll be talking about their race, what's going on, what traffic they're dealing with. But you've got to remember that the traffic will go one way then the other. You know, the fortune favours the brave and all that doesn't always work in motorsport. You sometimes have to just wait for the traffic fortune and the traffic gods to play your way, and other times it will obviously affect your opponents. There's a lot of cars coming into the pits now. Miles Owens, Chris Schofer, Chris Flamion and Justin Michaela. So it seems like the MX-5s are getting to their end of life with what it can do fuel-wise. All of the BMWs are now ahead of all the MX-5s, I believe. So the BMWs are clear of by at least a lap over everyone else. But Alex King here in the gorgeous Scuderia Luigi Mangione livery is now a lap behind his class leader, which is a bit devastating. But after the incident and an earlier pit stop, it's understandable. But again, now look, he has to just carve his way through traffic. I love how this looks now at night on a circuit like this, because the undulation, I mean, usually on an oval or a roval, it'd be very flat, so you wouldn't get much in the way of sort of blocking the light or anything. But because of the up and down nature of that infield, you lose a lot of vision, don't you, as you go over the crests and so on. They are very, very blind, especially in the dark.
Yeah, it's a beautiful, proper racetrack, this one. And again, for us Europeans, it's very alien to what we're used to in terms of how we consume our motor racing. And I would imagine as a spectator in real life, go into somewhere like this, so much oversight to the racetrack.
Oh, yeah.
It must be an incredible experience to go there as a spectator and genuinely be able to follow a race without sort of seeing it go wow, 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 and then you're done for 2 years. Really do like these tracks, I've got to say. It's producing a great race, as we predicted it would do at the start. 28 laps in the books already, Chaz, and I've not even had time to breathe, apart from when all my audio equipment decided to poop.
Well, to be honest, that's what's great about a championship like this, and it's like we were saying at the top of the show, you know, cars like this promote close, level racing. You know, it's so hard to get all of the pace out of a car like the Jetta and out of the GR86 especially, because they are so underpowered. It's all about corner momentum. When you get people that are on top of their game in certain cars like this, you really do find the limit quickly, and you are so close to overdoing it all of the time that you have to be so careful. Look at the warning shots being sent here by these guys on the brakes. Look how closely they can follow each other. A bit of contact even between Bailiff there and John Coombs. The Toyota gets a great initial squirt out of the corner, but then it's just not got the legs long term around this oval. The Jetta just uses that diesel power, pulls like a train all the way through 6th gear, mate, and all that, all around the banking, and it just sticks with it. It's a really interesting concept to see. I absolutely love it. I mean, coming back to the circuit, as you mentioned, I mean, you can see all the grandstands and the epic view that they'd have. It reminds me, it's a stupid comparison off the tongue, but reminds me of Valencia, a circuit that you and I have both been fortunate to commentate at in real life, Paul. It's an arena of a circuit where you're just above it at all places and you can see so much of the track. It's a real treat that's underappreciated often in motorsport, isn't it?
Yeah, completely agree. It does feel like, and I'm coming as a man who's been a fan of motorsport for his whole 40 years on this earth. Fans are always secondary at racetracks, and it is limited views, uncomfortable, no facilities, yada yada yada. But at tracks like this one, as you say, everything's all confined within one area, and it's a really beautiful place to watch racing. Bit disappointing if you want to get down close to the racetrack and see the cars, of course, because you're in the grandstands up in the heavens. But to follow a motor race, and probably the virtual fans watching here probably know more about what's happening than I do, because it has been frantic as Giovanni Romano comes down pit lane to serve his next start of the day.
Yep, he gets his first service out of the way, and he will now rejoin the circuit. A lovely pit lane exit here as well, actually. A big old wall on the right, and you stay way over to the left, keep it nice and tidy. But boy, has it got dark all of a sudden here at Charlotte. But this is actually one of the first cars we've seen that's really on its own on the circuit, that gives you an idea of the visibility. And once again, iRacing goes for, like they did with the rain. I had a bit of a rant about the rain on Thursday night, but they went for the realistic approach in this. The headlights are like candles in jam jars, as Jeremy Clarkson once said. You cannot see a massive amount, and you know, the people that complain about it and they're like, oh, iRacing's not realistic enough, and then when you can't see, they're like, oh, I can't see because the headlights are realistic. What do you want? Like, you know what I mean?
Exactly.
And they did that with the rain. Like, you know, everybody wanted rain on iRacing for so long. We knew that because they spent so long doing it, they would get it right, and they have. I mean, I'm a bit biased, but they have absolutely nailed the rain. It is savage, it is brutal, it is so difficult to drive in it, even when the slightest drops on the circuit and you're on slicks. It is hellish. But people complain, oh, I don't like racing in the rain, I thought it'd be fun, but it's really hard. What do you want? You know what I mean? And iRacing were the same. They were like, well, look, it's hard, deal with it. Like, you know, what did you want? What did you expect? They haven't gone down a route of, oh, you know, we'll make it rainy, we'll make it look pretty, but we'll make it easy for you. You know, it's down to the details of the wind can move where puddles might be if they sit on an apex or a curb. The water will never settle on a curb, it'll run away from it and run down it. You know, the temperature of the circuit will only dry a line where the cars have actually been. It's not a predetermined drying line by the sim that just magically does the racing line regardless of where other cars go. The whole track is fully dynamic, even in conditions like this. If we had a heat map right now of the inside of that oval banking, you would see it yellow from all the cars that are going around it, and it'd be freezing up on the top. You get all the marbles actually thrown away from the cars, you know. The thing about iRacing, it may not be the prettiest sim in the world. It's getting prettier all the time, and they've got a new lighting engine coming and all that. But the actual way that the physics work and the dynamics of it all and how it feeds back to drivers and yet looks so smooth like this and realistic in the way the cars bobble around, it's just epic. Rant over.
Yep, there's a lot to be said. There's a lot of merit for the detail of simulation, it has to be said. I fully agree, though. I love the realism aspect. That's why you go motor racing's not fun. And it's not easy. No. It's often infuriating, frustrating, and hard, and stressful, and disappointing. And that's why we love it. And that's why I find, much to follow on from your rant, people complain about these things. They claim to be racing fans and then want a simulation that simulates nothing to do with what happens. It's like, I want it to be mirror. In fact, if anything, I'd like to have to remortgage my house every time I crash to make it even more realistic. I adore that one, and I will give credit where credit's due to iRacing. They do a sterling job on those little details that just make it all the more immersive for us that take part in these races. I really do big respect for that kind of thing. And
I know that a lot of people slate it and, you know, call it ice racing or i-renting based on how ungrippy the cars feel and how much it costs and all that. Sorry?
I've called it both of those things in my time, I must admit.
But at the same time, you do have to appreciate how plug-and-play iRacing is actually compared to the likes of R-Factor, where you have to make sure you all have the same versions of the mods and all the same version of the circuit and so on. If you haven't got it, iRacing will just sort it out for you. You know, yeah, sure, you have to pay for a lot of it, but it's there and it's well scrutinised, and, you know, the balance of performance, the way that the racing is scrutinised as well with incident points, things like that. I love how regulated it is, and that's the closest thing to real racing. There's no way of describing it properly for me, but I think in terms of the racing, iRacing is the most realistic, like just the racing itself. But, you know, everybody has their own favourites and their own bias towards other sims and so on. I just think in the way it broadcasts and the way it looks here, it's the most convincing. The way the cars move and everything.
Yeah, there's a big credit for that one, actually. Having worked in the industry, shall we say, for a different game developer, the difficulty of getting the cars to look good on camera for a broadcast is, I mean, I don't understand any of the science behind it. I'm not a coder. I'm not into that world at all. But it is phenomenally difficult for really intelligent people to make it so the cars look realistic and non-jerking on a broadcast. I think iRacing smashed that out of the park. Of course, broadcasting, organised racing is the bread and butter of iRacing, has been for many, many years, so it's got to be perfect.
Yeah.
But they do a tremendously impressive job. And having peeked behind the curtain on how hard that is on the other platform that I used to work for, I can tell you it's not a straightforward task. And this is pretty much the envy of the industry, it has to be said, when it comes to those kind of things.
Absolutely. So a quick recap then, as we are now under an hour left to go in this race. I don't know where that's gone, to be honest, Paul, but time does fly when you're having fun. It's Giovanni Romano, the man on screen at the moment, the Canadian driver, car number 99, leading the way. A flawless race for him so far. Hopefully for him that continues, and he has this amazing run on his hands from rounds 1 and 2. Tom Mayle, less than 10 seconds behind though, and after an incident earlier on and pit stops to throw into contention, he's running a brilliant race. We saw an awesome comeback drive from him at Navarra. Now he's really showing us what he's made of with this great second place run so far. Speaking of far, Austin is in third place and having an absolutely amazing comeback, 24 seconds off the lead despite having 2 pit stops and that incident earlier on. It is an incredible drive from him. Looking at the GR86s, only Austin Tucker is ahead of all of the MX-5s at the moment, but he's having a great race of his own, isn't he, Paul? 16 seconds clear of Gruber and Wolf, who are both having their own fight for second and third.
Yep, phenomenal performance. If we look down at the Mazda MX-5s, it is Dan Peoples that's currently our race leader as well. He's got an advantage over Ewan Bremer in second position. Miles Owens in third place. We've seen plenty of Miles out on the racetrack, and he's been, shall we say, involved in his fair share of shenanigans over the start of this race, but he's doing a stout job thus far, the bottom step, the virtual podium. And then my favourite class, it is the diesel brigade. It is the taxi cars. Nothing less than 100,000 miles on the clock, guaranteed for £495. And it is Patrick Dopar who is currently leading that class.
Well, he is now.
Sam Vernost. In fact, yes, look at this one. This is
Just took the lead.
Picked up perfectly. Perfectly timed there, Chaz.
Yes, Sam literally just lost it. He went wide on the outside of the banking, though. I'm wondering whether he's trying to save a little bit of fuel, here, Paul. Sitting behind Patrick. They've raced together a long time. He's just thinking, I've only got 15% of a tank here. It's like it runs on fumes when it's full. So, he's just thinking, I need every little bit of that 15%. But they've got Jack Johns only 3 seconds back. Top 4 separated by less than 4 seconds after 45 minutes of racing. That is epic, isn't it?
You've got to love it. You've absolutely got to love it. The most inappropriate race car in the whole wide world, and it's producing by far and away the best racing. That sounded a little bit expensive. Well, not expensive.
Well, no, plastic.
It's a Jetta. Yeah, that's a little bit of plastics fell off of your dashboard, son. You'll be all right. Strap yard will cover it.
Yeah. It was his cancel taxi plate coming off.
Yeah, exactly. With a name that's not his. Yeah.
It'll say on the back of it, Skoda Octavia, white.
That's 14 cans of Red Bull that he just fell out of the glove box, isn't it?
That's his takeaway trays. His takeaway trays, the door's open, no.
Mikorma's spill.
Oh no, if you order at Korma, get in the bin.
Oh no, Korma's a glorious man. Glorious food of the gods.
No. I've got.
You can have a Korma, otherwise what can the cat eat?
True. I've got my girlfriend Charlotte sat here next to me. She always orders food from a curry house that is 10 times hotter than what I can ever handle. So I know that she'll be shaking her head to know that you're a Korma man, Paul. She's not
You've
impressed.
got to think about the animals, man. We've got 2 dogs and 2 cats that they all like to share. So I can't give them John Fraser. I'm going to pay the price. The living room carpet will be a mess. So yeah, we're going to go. Keep it easy.
Oh God. Well, Paul and I will be keeping it easy for just a few minutes, everybody. We're just about to take a 5-minute break here on Chaz Draycott Media, but I want to jump on board with Chris Flamion, who is currently in 4th position. We've not seen much of him yet in this broadcast, but we are going to be back in about 5 minutes' time, just taking a quick commentary break. Go and get a drink, go and have a wee, and we'll be back with you in a few. Hang tight. We'll be back with the Production Car Challenge Plus here on Chaz Draycott Media. Hello again, everybody. Chaz Draycott and Paul Jeffrey here for the Production Car Challenge Plus by FTR Events here on Chaz Draycott Media, round 2 of the championship from the Charlotte Roval in the United States of America. We have 45 minutes left of this 1 hour and 40-minute race, and it's been an absolute belter so far. Great to be sharing the commentary box with my good friend Paul, and I tell you what, mate, we've hinted at it a few times, but I don't know where to look. It's genuinely been brilliant action everywhere, hasn't it?
It really, really has. It's one of those races where I'm so glad that you're leading this one, because often I don't even know who we're looking at, because there's that much going on the track. We were doing the rundown just before the break of the top 3 for each class, and it changed while I was saying it on the screen. I'm trying to read the timing screen, and then something's happened on the racetrack. It is a whole load of 10-minute sprint races stitched together into a 100-minute motor race. I'm loving this one. Brilliant selection, I'll have to say, and I credit where credit is due to FTR Events. Their choice of cars for this Production Car Challenge Plus is legendary. They're not what the e-sport masses, shall we say, would flock to, but my goodness me, does it make an absolute cracking motor race. And what better way to spend whatever day of the week it is today? It's just the festive period, so I don't actually know.
No, I don't. Yeah. I don't know.
Yeah. I'm no longer in full-time employment now, so I don't know what day of the week it is at any given time. And but whatever day of the week it is, it's a great way to spend the evening.
It absolutely is, Paul. It absolutely is. We've got a bit to catch up on by the look of it. Sam Van Alst is now 3 seconds clear at the front of the Jettas, and considering how close they've been all race, that's an absolute country mile. It'll feel like he's lapped them. But we have a few incidents recently that have actually come to, well, stop Austin Farr from being as close to Tom Mayle as he was earlier. Tom Weston has had an issue. He's way too hot onto the banking. He's had a spin. Luckily doesn't involve anybody else, or at least I hope not. Yes, I wanted to just stick with that and make sure. Connor Hatfield had a moment around the same time, actually, only about 10 seconds after him. He's just going to go a little bit too hot up there, isn't he? Yeah, and around goes the beamer. It's getting hard to see them, actually, at this point. But again, as I remind Connor, that serves him right for running car number 00. And then Austin Farr, I think, is going to clip the wall here. Oh, that was a big old bounce, wasn't it?
Now that's so easy to do in one of those cars, isn't it? The suspension rejoins itself and away you go. And this is Austin Farr having his little incident.
Oh.
It's it. Again, even worse from the onboard, isn't it?
Yeah,
it's just so easy to do that.
I think we've been to the loo before the race, because that's enough to dislodge stuff. That's a right moment. Matt Acton getting lapped by the race leader here into the chicane. Just that weight transfer. Oh, and around it goes. That is a lovely livery, it must be said as well. The Sim Racing Collective, very pretty car. Let's give them some appreciation, and hopefully if it goes back to the same camera... Oh, it's not going to go to the same camera. You sod, iRacing. Do it again. Oh. I was hoping that we could have it in slow-mo and have a look at that, but it hasn't given us the same camera this time. They are what's known as grouped cameras, so sometimes we'll have it from one angle, sometimes we'll have it from another. But, sod it. Giovanni Romano still leads, nearly 10-second lead now over Tom Mayle, who's having a great run. Austin Farr still in third, despite his incident earlier, but Richard Cawthrow is now only 3 seconds behind him in fourth. Austin Tucker and Dan Pepples, they're both looking very, very handy in the lead of their respective classes. Austin has 23 seconds over Ron Wolf, and Dan Pepples has 25 seconds over Ivan Bremer. It's in the Jetta class that actually they don't have any breathing room at all. Jack Johns has now gone up into second position and got ahead of the likes of Matt Acton, who is in an MX-5, and Patrick Dopart. So the Jettas remain the closest class on track, but yeah, the other 3 guys leading their classes are having a whale of a time, aren't they?
Oh yes, there's some great driving throughout the field, especially at the front of the respective classes. Romano in the BMW, of course, has been nigh on faultless, it has to be said, as we check back in with Matt Acton in the action, it has to be said for Matt at this moment in time, using all the racetrack and a little bit more in his bid to overcome the somewhat significantly sized VW Jetta. Bye-bye BMW, good his best LMP1 impression as he whips by us all. And this is Larry, this is not where you want to be. That little gap suddenly got a whole lot tighter, and those trousers suddenly got a whole lot more second hand.
Even after that slide as well on the exit. Extra bit of, stuff thrown out there. Patrick Dopart's lost a little bit of ground there. I was just going to jump on board to say he was right behind this and got a great view of the little MX-5 trying to nibble at the ankles of the Volkswagen Jetta, but he was actually getting lapped by Richard Cawthrower, and it's lost him a few seconds, or at least a second and a bit. Great jump over the curb. That's another thing the Jetta's really good at, though, is absorbing curbs and absorbing momentum. It just doesn't get phased at all by a bump and a wobble here and there, and trust me, it loves a wobble more than I do when I stand up. But Dopart there slapping the wall on the outside, and you can just see how much Matt Acton is trying his best to get past that Jetta, and it's actually cost Jack Johns a little bit of time there.
Yeah, that's actually not ideal from Johns whatsoever. That's a whole load of time that he's got screwed up into a ball and thrown in the dustbin. So Dopart is going to be very much in that conversation before too long, for good measure as well. He's going to be bringing King along with him too. So keep your eye on this one, VW Jetta fans. There's plenty of racing still to go with 38 minutes, 59 seconds left on the clock. Whew. Take stock for a few moments, chaps and ladies, because this one's going to get even more unintelligible as we get to the end of the race, isn't it?
It really is. We'll have a look at the pit stops on the left-hand side, and you can see that Evan Campbell has done 2 stops in the GR86s. He's currently in 5th position, and also the 3rd placed overall driver, Austin Farr, has done 2 stops. That's possibly the most impressive drive for me, aside from our race leader Giovanni Romano. To be fair, the BMW GR86 and MX-5 class leaders have...
Not laughing at Austin, I'm laughing at commentator Curse live on air. Oh dear.
Now, my colleague Ed May that commentated the first round, I swear to you, Paul, I think I've told you about it before, has the strongest commentator's curse of anybody I've ever met. It's terrifying. I would never want to go on a day out with Ed, because all we just hint at something happening, and even just the thought of it in his brain would cause it to happen. It's like lightning striking. It's just horrific how quickly it happens. But that is, that's one of the worst I've had. But I was going to say, our class leaders, especially the BMs, the GR86s and the MX-5s, have been absolutely flawless so far. Brilliant drives by all of them. But Austin's recovery drive, despite that moment there, to be 3rd with 2 pit stops, a full-length pit stop as well, is just awesome. Really, really awesome. I do wonder how this car is going to be feeling now, though, after that wallop into the barriers.
Yeah, I think he got away with it, did Austin, a little bit. I thought that was going to be some real, straight down pit lane kind of damage. But it does seem, apart from, strangely, the light's getting a bit dimmer off camera. No idea why that's a damage effect. Hey-ho. The car does seem to be relatively straight. We're not looking left or right-hand down on the steering wheel. Still seems to be pointing. It's not crabbing too hard. So I think Austin is going out of his way to make his day just a bit more difficult than it needs to be. But he got away with that one as Jean-Marie Costa comes down pit lane from 6th position in the Toyota GR86.
Yeah, it's like he's doing a last to first challenge, and then he's just like, oh, you know what, the AI's not turned up far enough, I need to just give it another go. But yeah, Jean-Marc Costa into the pits, stops in his box. We'll wait for the change to be done. Car number 8, back with our race leader, Giovanni Romano. More traffic for him in the form of Jettas. And the BMW will soar away. You can see some of the little marks and black bits of rubber that have struck the side of the car there. It's another great effect of iRacing, is that the cars do look a bit knackered after a long old race. They get loads of rubber marble marks all over them, some streaks of rubber down the side, and a bit of muck as well. You might see a little bit of it around the windscreen, but to be fair, Giovanni's barely had anyone in front of him at any point for very long, so he's not really had to kick up much. Sam Van Olst continues his lead in the Jettas with a pesky MX-5 behind him. A little bit second-hand his Jetta, but then again, it probably entered the race looking like that. And he's actually got a handy lead over Donny Alpha Henriksen, who it's good to see back up there. Donny has only done 1 pit stop so far, though, and a number of the drivers behind him have done 2. Jeremy Agard has had Jack Johns rejoin the circuit right behind him, but Jeremy has also done 1 stop here. So the drivers in 1st, 2nd and 3rd in class yet to stop again, and this could actually cost Jack Johns and the likes of Patrick Dopart even more time here, Paul.
Yeah, this is a great little squad. We'll ride on board with Dopart at this moment in time. Gets a good run, but there's nowhere to put the car. You don't want to be fighting too hard for position. Oh, there we go. Ow. Thank you very much. If there's not a gap, just put your car there and expect one to appear. And that worked wonderfully well for Dopart. So position gained. He's going to be vulnerable from the slipstream behind, but I reckon if there's any kind of racing intelligence, not going to go for a remove. Throw that one in the dustbin. Let's have a look down the inside.
Oh, this is Jack Johns. I've commentated on him a while. Look at that over the curve. He loves ascend. Jack Johns absolutely loves ascend. He's one of the most confident racers I've seen. Commentated with him before as well. He's a great lad, is Jack. A really good laugh, great personality. And yeah, I knew that he was going to try and go back for that one. He was not going to hang about. Ron Wolf has come to a stop at some point in class from second position, I think he was at the time, because that's Georg Gruber behind him. He's just clipped the curb and overdone it at the bus stop chicane, and he's hopefully going to style it out and lob it around. There you go. It's got a great turning circle on it as the GR86, and he gets back underway, but he's now a number of, well, seconds down. He's actually in the pits. I wonder... No, it's not a stop-go or anything, but he is now... I think he's actually just taken a moment to serve his pit stop there, Paul, rather than have a drive-through or anything. Obviously, you get incident points here on iRacing, which is what gets sort of added up time over time. You get them for spins and off-tracks and so on. Not many off-tracks you'll get around here. If you hit the wall, you'll get what's known as a 0x. It'll just tell you that you've had an incident point, but it won't count towards anything. They get a drive-through penalty on 25 incidents and disqualified on the spot at 35. So I was going to say I'd be surprised if he hasn't had that, as there's contact between the leaders in the Jetta class here. Door-to-door stuff. Van Alst and Johns, both drivers that will never give it up. I don't know why Jack needs to keep door banging him, but he decides to. I don't think that's on.
Yeah, that's a little bit loud. Oh, no, come on, boys, chill out.
Yeah,
that's like my day job. This is like, if you can't find a way past, smash him off at road. It's a touring car, you'll be all right.
Yeah. Just because you can doesn't mean you should in touring cars.
Precisely. That could have been a lot worse, actually, Chaz. I think we've done very well that those four cars all are still broadly in the same direction. Jack Johns, though, licks the stamp and sends it around the outside, tries for the switchback one way, then the other way, and that is beautifully done from Jack Johns. Massive mistake from Van Alst in the yellow machine. He's going to lose even more places, in fact, because of that airborne moment. But Jack Johns, thank you very kindly, I'll take that one. And that's a race lead in the Jettas.
That Jetta is very second-hand now for Sam Van Alst. That was a big, big hit into the barriers. He's really hurt the front right of that car, and I think that will need to come back down pit lane for repairs. He tried to just set it up so the car was in the right place at the right time, but he hooked the inside of the curb, and I mean, Jack was very lucky that he didn't then get turned into the barrier as well. I was not approving of the earlier bit of driving, unfortunately, where they were banging doors down the banking. You can obviously bang doors every so often here and there, as Connor Hatfield has broken that BMW. I think he was just behind all of that shenanigans. Let's have a look here with Connor. Serves him right for running the number 0, especially with two of them. It's cool when Damon Hill does it with one of them, but come on. He's got a Jetta in front of him. Sorry, Connor, or Kenneth, however you want to go by. Right, then left. Oh, it's going to be on the exit of turn 1, this, isn't it? Because that's where we saw him slow. And is he going to hit that curb and go for it? Oh, no, it's just understeered, understeered, understeered. Oh,
that's a morally pathetic crap. What happened there? The engine's cut.
What on earth is that? It's absolutely annihilated that right rear.
That's...
Well, what I said about suspension... suspension about made of cracker bread earlier. Flipping heck, it's made of Frankfurters. Van Alst is out of the race. He's thrown a strop as Sam Van Alst, and I feel he maybe feels like that's partly down to Jack Johns, but I don't know. He put himself in that position. He's thrown a bit of a strop here and lobbed it into the pit lane. It'll be entertaining to look at. Oh goodness me! Wheel off everything. He's going to hit something very hard in a moment. I think he's going to hit the end of a wall. Yes, he's gone straight to the water barrels. Yeah, he's... I mean, yeah, I feel his frustration with what Jack and him were doing down the banking. Not sure who started it and who finished it, but yeah, I think the incident that eventually put a pay to his race was his own doing there. He put himself in a defensive position, lobbed it over the curbs and put himself in the wall.
And it's a shame, because that was a really cracking fight. I've really enjoyed watching Van Alst racing so far over the course of this race. So it's a shame when you start a race to not make it through to checkered flag. But hey-ho, we have got, though, a battle commencing again in the VW Jettas. You can see your race leader, Jack Johns, there, just going through your screen in the lovely well, in the livery at least, VW Jetta. And then just behind, Dopart is not as close as he was, but that looks like a man that's hankering for an overtaking manoeuvre, methinks, over the next lap or so.
Yeah, he's definitely trying to push it as he's really lobbing it over the curbs again, something the Jetta does very, very well. Half a minute is the gap in the GR86 and MX5 classes when it comes to the lead. Patrick Dopart, though, half a second behind Jack Johns. So it is great to see that these guys have managed to stay so close together. It's not actually got as dark as I expected, though, Paul. The headlights doing a wonderful job around here at the Roval, and because it is so close quarters, the sort of diffused light around the place reflects very nicely, so it's not always complete pitch black darkness, which is good for us because it means that these bright liveries are still on show and we can just about tell who is who. But Jack Johns, considering that he was right down the back of this pack at the start of the race, doing a wonderful job and right up to the front. And it's just a case now of whether he can hold it for the next 29 minutes of the race. Because, well, if we've seen anything so far, it's the fact that these Jettas love a change of position.
Oh yes, there is plenty of racing still to go. And there is one of the GR86s, looking suspiciously like a Hyundai Coupe, making its way through. And there's the BMW as well, doing its Le Mans prototype impression. Ooh, gotta be careful not to get a move on into the... This is the problem, isn't it? Oh, hello, the 34. Hello, barrier. Goodbye, barrier. Hello, traffic. Goodbye, positions.
Yes.
That could have been a lot worse.
Yeah, Paul Hendricks, Jimmy's brother. I wonder if he plays a left-handed car right-handed.
That's a poor segue, that one, Chaz.
Yeah, sorry.
Look better. Think harder for the next one.
I can't. You'll hear it. It'll sound like Connor Hatfield's, but it'll sound like this. just cogs whirring. But still, Richard Cawthraw, he's been doing some thinking. He's the series admin of this championship, so we'll give him some airtime. And he is now into the pits. He's having a good race, though, to be fair, up in 4th position. We've seen him take some great opportunistic manoeuvres. He's been definitely one of the highlights of the show during this race. Can't believe that there's been an hour and 10 minutes of it already, to be honest, Paul. Time really does fly when you're having fun. We're certainly enjoying ourselves. I hope you all are as well at home or wherever you may be watching from. Giovanni Romano's certainly enjoying himself. He's just been absolutely flawless at the front of this pack. And the scary thing about that as well, Paul, is that he's been flawless and his pace has been incredible. He's still 3/10 of a second a lap quicker every lap than Tom Mayle. He's just done a 1:26.09. Let's see what Tom does this time round. He was 3/10 quicker last time. He did a 1:26.09. Tom did a 1:26.1, to be fair to him, so he's only a 1/10 of a second off him on that lap. So Tom also has been putting in some excellent pace. Well, you could say he's been cooking in that livery. But to be honest, Romano and Mayle have just made it look easy, haven't they, in this race so far? Because considering they've been doing that pace for over an hour and just not relenting at all, it's just awesome.
And Romano, of course, he's looking to make it a double race victory in the Production Car Challenge Plus Series. He'll be, as things stand, and I'm always reluctant to say this because things can and usually do change, he's looking like the only driver that may be able to double up on victories at this second round of the championship thus far. Bremer, second position in the Mazdas. He won last time out, and yowzers, that's a sideways moment, but everybody survives just about, and here's Ewan Bremer in second place. He won last time out, so he's still in the conversation to be a double victor as well. But points paying championship, 4-round season. We're off to Snetterton on the 19th for the next race. My goodness me, that's a different track from this one. So you want to bang the results in. Consistency is a friend in things like this, Chaz. You want the glories, you want the victories, but actually banging in those points is often the best way to get the championship come the season's end.
Yeah, I mean, consistency is definitely the way. I mean, an example, I don't follow MotoGP that closely, but definitely will do next year. But if you look at MotoGP this season, the two title protagonists with a few races left, one of them had won one race, the other one had won 8. Yet the guy that had won one race was ahead in the championship. Like, that's, you know, my good friend I keep saying your name, Peter Mackay always comes out with the phrase trees or trophies. He commentates on rally, so it's very apt. But it seems like that sort of approach in MotoGP, where you either win it or bin it. And consistency, you could finish second in every one of those races. We call it doing a Turkington, don't we? Colin in the British Touring Car Championship, never the most exciting driver, but that's not necessarily a bad thing because he's always racking up the points. He's had a lot of seasons against the likes of Ash Sutton. Ash, incredible talent, really, really quick, but had himself in situations over a few seasons where it could have cost him the championship because he could have been in third, going for second instead of just settling for it, and then causing an accident and getting no points instead of however many you get for third. So it's just settling for what you've got in that moment, and especially when there's only 4 rounds in a season like this that are all long races as well, where a lot can happen. You need to think bigger picture, don't you, instead of just sending it everywhere. Contrary to what I said before, actually, quite funnily.
Yeah, to be fair, just to do some thinking would be an improvement on the
for me or what?
No, for the drivers. No comment. There's been plenty of excitable manoeuvres, shall we say, and I think it's starting to settle down a little bit now amongst this field as drivers are beginning to recognise where the threats may or may not present themselves. And can't really be too calm. So if you're too calm in this competition, things like that happen. The inside door's almost left open and somebody almost sneaks at the inside.
Yeah, Stephen King, another driver from Pulsar Esports that definitely doesn't like to hang about. He and Jack were teammates in one of my touring car championships using the good old Kia Optima GTS a few years ago. And those two definitely don't hang about. They don't shy away from a manoeuvre, but in touring car racing, that's what you need to be like. Sometimes it's to your own detriment, sometimes it's the brave that prosper and all that. So it's great to see it, but yeah, you're absolutely right though, Paul. You do have to just think so much in a race like this, and it's hard to balance, taking it easy with lobbing it around as hard as possible, especially when the walls are that close. Matt Acton is just coming back out of the pit lane now in car 14. He's just been overtaken by this train. Race leader Giovanni Romano now back in the pit lane as well for his second stop. Completely undisturbed race for him so far. Very tasty drive. He'll be enjoying this moment to chill out a bit, won't he?
It must be boring being so good.
I do say that.
Nothing's happened.
I even say that about my flight sim videos there on YouTube as well. People are always correcting me and slating me. I'm like, look, if I was a good pilot and got it right all the time, it'd be boring. Let me get stuff wrong, add a bit of spice into it, And it's the same with me racing. It's why I'm a commentator. I'm an absolutely rubbish driver, but I even get stuff wrong with commentary. It's why we love one of our very favourites, the late great Murray Walker. Murray was actually, when you consider it, a pretty terrible commentator with the amount he got wrong, but how many people loved him? Everybody loved Murray, and it's that imperfection that makes things so great, and that's what it's like with the Jettas here, and even with drivers as well. I mentioned, I feel really bad because I've mentioned it a few times now, but he's out of the race by the look of it. But João Marta Costa at Navarra, he did not make any friends at all. He had a very scruffy race, made a lot of strange decisions, but it was the character of it that wrote a story about his race, and that's why we enjoyed it. And it's great to see that that still transfers regardless of whether they're having a good race or a bad race.
Yeah, I agree with you completely. It's show the passion, either behind the mic or behind the wheel. Show the passion, show you love what you're doing, and these Jettas are really doing a sterling job of that one. Indeed, in fact, there's a bit of traffic getting mixed up into this one now. The GR86 trying to force the way through on the inside, and that was almost a little bit leery, but good driving from Paul Hendricks to make his way through unperturbed. He's in 7th position, by the way, in the GR86 class. There's the helicam as we have a look at the cars entering the banking. So massive change in the racetrack, both the surface and the way that the racetrack is connecting with the car. Nothing to do but go absolutely flat chat and hope and pray that you've got enough real estate to insert yourself into when you smash that middle pedal. 3 wide, coming down into the chicane. Oh, everybody's about made it through there. Just about. A little bit of contact further back, though. And
that's Pepples. Dan Pepples around. That was the class leader in the MX-5s. He's come under pressure. He's put himself in a situation where he's tried to lob it through the traffic, and he is around and into the barriers. There was contact between Dopart and Acton behind all this, but Dan Pepples, he was ahead. He had it done, but the car weight transfer, it just caught him out. He thought he had it saved, lobs it one way, then the other, just hits the back of Hendricks' GR86, and I tell you what, Paul, he's massively lucky there not to get clipped by somebody else.
Yeah, that could have been a monster accident. And for Dan, it is so frustrating. The car, you know the car's going, and there is precisely butt kiss you can do about it at that point. You have the most pathetic, slow pirouette that you are completely unable to do anything about. It's horrendous as a driver, but Pepples, he's still got the car. I mean, it looks rough, but it's still going relatively well. He's only got 19 minutes to survive. Still on, but he's made his life a little bit more difficult for that podium fight, for sure.
His teammate Ivan Bremer has just come back out of the pit lane as well, but he is still 17 seconds down. So yeah, as long as Dan doesn't lose a second a minute, he should be all right, but easier said than done. Patrick Dopart has had a moment in the Jetta. I think he might have clipped the MX-5 of Acton here or something. Oh, the BMW's down the inside. He didn't see Cawthron coming. He did not see him there. I'm not sure if that was a little bit of impatience by Cawthron or just innocent sort of misjudgment by Dopart. Just didn't see him. He was focusing on the MX-5 and slotting in behind him. Let's go on board with Dopart and see, Paul.
Yeah, ridiculously easy to do in these sort of scenarios when there's cars everywhere. It's very difficult to judge where you are. And here we go, tries to cut back to the inside. Didn't see that car. That's a lot of crushed metal. And unfortunately, I do think that is going to be an uncomfortable ride from here to the checker.
Yeah, maybe a bit of damage to the right rear as well. You've got to think about the front left as well of Richard Cawthron's BMW. I'm not sure how much of the 2000 British Touring Car Championship you've watched, Paul, but that reminds me of when Anthony Reid went off near the end of the season and it put pay to his championship. Very sideways in the dark with just nothing but tyre noise and headlights pointing into the abyss. It was just
and that
pretty...
made me so happy. That made me so...
Oh,
I didn't like Anthony Reid back in the day.
I like Anthony Reid, but I really wanted Alan Menu to win it, so...
Yep, yeah, for sure. I didn't like Anthony Reid at the time. He was too polished. I like him now. Now he's got older, but at the time he was like going up against Rydell and Menu and all the drivers that I really... So he was like the pantomime villain, shall we say, in the day.
Ivan Bremer has now taken the lead of the MX-5 class because Dan Pepples has had to come into the pit lane and get that car repaired. So the damage that he had was effectively what gave him what's known as a meatball flag, black flag with an orange circle in the middle, which means that your car is unsafe to continue driving in its current state. Please come in and get it repaired. I imagine, to be fair, a lot of the Jettas get that when they just turn up to the race meeting, but still... Jack Johns leads over Stephen King. I mean, his car's definitely a bit second-hand at the front, but you can see, look, there's rubber marks and all sorts up the side of it. It's getting a bit tatty, like it came out of the factory, but it's just great, and I love it. But it's a 1-2 for Pulsus Esports at the minute. They'll both be very happy with this. It seems like Jack taking it a little bit easy, though. He's lost a bit of time to Stephen King here. I wonder whether he is trying to save a little bit of fuel and avoid a long final pit stop, because, as you and I both know, Paul, from endurance racing, one of the most important pit stops in the whole thing is the last one, because that's usually the one that you can sort of control how long it is with how much fuel you come into it with.
Yeah, of course, and the way to fuel save, of course, is short shifting, i.e. changing gears a little bit earlier than you would do normally, so you don't use the full rev range, you don't use the full amount of fuel, and also slipstreaming. So stay behind the car in front and let that car in front punch a hole through the air, and you can take advantage of it. Will Stephen King do that one, or is he writing his own story to try and find a way past thank you very much, in second position? Looks to the inside, and I think Stephen at this moment in time is just trying to spook the car in front.
Yeah, that's the thing. It's filling the mirrors, isn't it? You know, you've got to be right there, put the pressure on, just send a subliminal message. It may be a Jetta and be the friendliest thing you'll ever see in your rearview mirror, but at the end of the day, it's a racing car and it's filling the mirrors of a competitor. So, you know, you want to be there, just diving out here and there, sending a fake where you want to, you know, just make them aware that you're sitting there behind them and that your intentions are clear, that you want to get through. Evan Campbell, by the way, was a lot further down the order after an earlier pit stop for Flying Donut Racing Team. He's now got back ahead of John Coombs. John not putting up a fight there, just sitting in behind him and saying, you know what, I'm not going to fight this one. I know how quick you are. I could potentially save fuel. I could sit here behind you and potentially get some slipstream. You might help me out in the long run. But it's still Austin Tucker in this absolutely horrendous mind rot livery that leads the way at the moment. And he's been pretty flawless himself, actually, so far in this one. He has a minute over Georg Gruber right now. Although, to be fair, that's an unfair representation because Austin still has to pit again. But Georg and Ron Wolf are only 10 seconds apart for second and third. They're going to be hoping to take a solid podium finish at what is possibly going to be one of the most difficult races of the season, with the unforgiving nature of this track, the fact that it's gone dark as well. You can barely see any of the circuit. It's definitely one of the most challenging combinations, but it's definitely given us an entertaining race. And I don't know about you, Paul, but I get the impression, and even though this is a virtual event, of course, you get the feeling that it's a nice enclosed event, don't you? That there's a lot going on in a very small space. It's very claustrophobic, isn't it?
It feels a little bit like sort of British dirt track racing to me. One of
Yeah.
those mini quarter-mile ovals where it's boom, boom, boom everywhere you look. I can imagine as a driver, it's been a massively entertaining experience. Often, I think we said it right at the beginning of the race, it's difficult let's start again. In longer distance races, you tend to know where you are, where your rivals are, what plan A looks like, what plan B looks like, what deltas you're racing to, when you plan to pit, how you plan to conserve fuel. All these facets of the race, you kind of map them out on the table in front of you and work out, if situation A happens, I'm going to do B, blah, blah, blah. This is an endurance race, but all of that is beyond pointless, because it's frantic from green to checker. You've got to go, you've got to do a bit of rally driving to survive all the shenanigans. You've got to keep lapping as hard as you can, otherwise you're going to get caught up in somebody else's fight. And it's one of those where I think most of these drivers are only going to know where they're trending towards as a finishing position once they've passed the checkered flag. And I love that as a driver, because there's no room to breathe. You don't know if you can gear down a little bit now. If you're Austin Tucker, okay, bad example, he's got night and day gap. If you're most of these drivers, you don't really want to breathe and save fuel, because you don't know if it's going to hurt you, because it's that dramatic.
That's the thing, it's like I said before, you've got to take every lap as it comes, and you've just got to push wherever you can. If you've got drivers around you and you can physically see them position-wise, and if you've got an opportunity to save fuel and visually sort of judge the race as it's going, then fine. But if they're not in visual range, they're not in radar range, you have to just forget the numbers. It's so hard to visualize the numbers and just crack on. Just push as hard as you can, because, like we've seen in the case of Dan Pepples, great race all the way through. One bit of traffic and a bit of a sort of pressurizing environment has thrown his race into jeopardy, and he is now 4 seconds behind the class leader and his teammate Ivan Bremer. So all it takes is a moment like that, and that was what he had, a half a minute lead, didn't he? So he's lost all of that in that time. It's just a blink of an eye, and it can change so quickly in a race like this.
It's like going to an all-you-can-eat buffet. Just attack it with everything you've got and damn the consequences. That's tomorrow's problem, and that's what you've got to do in one of these. You've just got to go and hope that whatever you've done is enough to score you the big result come the checkered flag. And Jack Johns, by the way, he's doing an absolutely sterling job at the head of this Volkswagen Jetta pack. We've seen him under varying degrees of pressure. Yeah, granted, it is Stephen King in the sister car behind, but he's soaking this pressure up. He's not getting Larry behind the wheel. He knows that train's getting bigger behind him, but he's just been pinpoint precise at this stage. And big credit to Jack Johns. I've been impressed by the conservative nature of the body language of the car at this stage.
Yeah, now he's in front. He's absolutely calm as a cucumber with this. And to be fair, I wouldn't put it past Stephen King trying it on his teammate and putting a move on him, but Jack is a multiple production car champion, actually, in the official races of iRacing. He's been doing it for a long, long time and knows his way around the Jetta and a lot of the official series. He actually started running the racing line, which is his brand of the racing line, the Jetta Cup, and it was a very successful series. I'm not sure if he's doing it anymore, but he's been commentating and broadcasting that for a while as well. So yeah, he's definitely known this car well, and he's been on both ends of it, whether it be broadcasting it and watching it or behind the wheel, but he's good at both. I say that, and there's a commentator's curseway. Into the wall he goes. Stephen King and Patrick Dopart will see a chink in the armour like that, though, and go, ooh, it's not over yet, Clyde.
Yeah, for sure. There's plenty of racing still to go in 10 minutes and 44 seconds left on the timer that you see at the top left of your screen. 10 minutes to make a decision on who's going to win each of these 4 classes. But the real attention, of course, is the VW Jetta battle. That's little BMW just quickly exiting the scene as fast as possible, because trust me, if you're not in this fight, you don't want to be on this tarmac, because these three are going to get very intense in the next few minutes. Absolutely certain.
They absolutely are. Ben Chalcraft, the car, getting through and heading away from them. We'll have a quick recap then with 10 minutes left to go. Can't believe it's gone that quickly here at Charlotte Motor Speedway. Giovanni Romano still leads the way. In the BMWs, it's remained quite stale, actually, after an hour. Giovanni Romano leading Tom Mayle. Richard Cawthron in third position, but he's only got 9 seconds over Austin Farr, and based on Austin's pace, no disrespect to Richard, that could very quickly come down in the last 10 minutes. Austin Tucker has led the GR86s from the beginning and has been brilliant throughout. George Gruber in second position and Ron Wolf in third is how it stayed for a while. John Coombs and Evan Campbell, well, I've just had a drama. Evan Campbell looks like his race might be over here, Paul, with a lot of damage. And I think he's going to try and crawl it back to the pits because it's quicker than towing it. And as long as he's responsible and keeps it on the inside, that's pretty responsible way of doing it, actually. Fair play.
That car looks like a brand new 1965 Mini. The way that it's crabbing down the straight. Those cars were never straight even when they were new, and I do think that that's so disappointing. With 10 minutes to go for Evan Campbell, he was having a sterling little race. He was involved in a nice little battle, 4th and 5th position, and good bit of responsible driving, as you say. Hopefully he can get that down a pit lane, but man, your heart just goes out to Evan Campbell. It is such a dispiriting way to end a race, and it's going to be a long time in pit lane, Chaz, getting that thing straightened out with a hammer and gaffer tape.
Well, you know what, I think he might still have his fast repair available here, so it might just be an instant, which is why he's driven it back like this, because if you tow it back, it's a good 2 minutes. He's only been doing this for about 45 seconds to a minute, so once he gets in the box, it might just be a case of, give me a new car, please, and off he goes. So one of our very favourite commentators, Charlie Cox, would have said he turned it into a paperweight. And I'll have another one, please. See if it straightens up and gets going. It might be a second, and he might fuel up and take tyres yet. We'll have to see. The wheel is moving, but I'm not sure whether that's just at his end. Unfortunate, though, if it comes that way. Back to the Jettas. And by the way, it's Bremer, Peppels and Owens 1, 2, 3 still for their team in the MX-5s. It doesn't look like we're going to have any strong showing from Pearson in this one, actually, as he was out of the race in the early stages, only completed, well, 3 laps, didn't even complete a 4th lap, unfortunately. But these, I was going to say 4 Jettas then, 3 Jettas and an imposter, all very close together. I'm wondering how much Matt Acton is going to affect this lead battle here, Paul, in this number 14 machine. Even like that, look. He's already doing it.
Through like a hot knife through butter, and look at that one, 2 by 2 for second position in class. The outside line, though, as is usually the case, is not where you need to be, and that is still advantage for that is still advantage for King in second position. By the way, Chaz, we didn't see it on screen, but the change of lead in the MX-5, Bremer now is up to the front of the MX-5 class. So Peppels down into second position, Bremer and Romano in the BMW, the 2 drivers trending for a double victory from these first 2 races of the day.
Yeah,
first 2 races of the season, should I say.
Well, I think Bremer took the lead earlier when Peppels had to pit for his damage after his incident. And since then, Peppels has actually closed in on him quite a lot. They've had a position change here and there, but now I think Bremer, well, they may be teammates, these pair, but Bremer knows that Peppels is going to absolutely go for this. Down the inside goes Dan. He was rapid at Navarra. They might be on different setups as well, because it's not a fixed setup championship, this. Oh my goodness me. I don't think he expected the BMW to be on his outside there. We're very lucky that the 2 of them had some weird sort of net code and went through one another there. Oh my goodness me. Alex King will have, well, not just his heart in his mouth, but his backside will be in his mouth as well, or his heart will have fallen out. Wait, he's going slowly here. What is that about?
What the heck is that?
What is Bremer doing?
Congratulations, you've won Stupid Award. That was, I don't like to be too aggressive with drivers, but that was pathetic.
I don't get what that was about at all. I really don't. I'm not sure if he's put him over some sort of incident limit or something, and Ivan's just...
what he's done.
No.
It's not appropriate in any scenario.
Absolutely not. That is not to be tolerated, I don't think. That is not good to see. Especially after such a clean and solid race from Ivan as well. I have no idea what on earth has caused that. Whether I don't know whether Alex slowed down to cause something or what, but that was just bizarre.
that was peculiar, and it's a shame as well because the two MX-5s were having a nice little battle.
Yeah.
Time Peppels and Bremer in first and second position. So that's a little bit. I don't like to see things like that. Once you're watching this at home, don't take any lessons from that one, please, folks.
No.
Because that's not cool.
No, definitely not. What is cool, though, is the fact that we've got 3 Jettas after an hour and 35 minutes, separated by 0.7 of a second. It's just been the most remarkable race in these Jettas once again. And Jack Johns has been the most consistent leader of the lot. Jake Cranstone will be absolutely hating this, considering that he started on pole position. He is still in the race, though, is Jake, and he's in 5th position. And he's actually only 29 seconds off the lead, so he's had a hell of a run as Jake. He's done really, really well. Jeremy Agard is only 2 seconds up the road, and then he has got quite the gap to Patrick Dopart of 26 seconds. But Jack Johns, with only 4.5 minutes left, has got his teammate Stephen King, which, to be honest, being teammates with Stephen means nothing. He's going to still go for the victory, I can tell you. But also Patrick Dopart, who doesn't want to hang around either. He's got opportunity for a win here. Stephen King finished second, actually, at Navarra as well, so he's got an extra point to prove by going one better and taking a race win here. But still, 4.25 minutes left on the clock here, Paul, and Giovanni Romano, well, once again, he's done 65, nearly 66 laps now. He's been flawless. Might finish on 69 laps, that'll be very entertaining. But what a drive he's had, absolutely excellent.
Oh yeah, it's been absolutely outstanding in BMW. It's very, very difficult when you're leading, let's be honest, in a pretty dominant fashion, it has to be said, such as Romano is at this moment, to keep that concentration going, to keep that consistency, to keep ticking off the laps, making the right decisions in traffic, making the right decisions in strategy. We saw this, Ayrton Senna being the most famous example in 1988 at Monaco, had the race in the bag and just let the concentration slip straight into the barriers, and that's what Romano could very easily do in this scenario. No idea whatsoever how Ewan Bremer can see out of the windshield of that Mazda MX-5. It's a good job he's not got a roof. He's going to have to bob his head up and have a look over the window. I'm 6'5", I do that naturally. This is interesting. I hope he's gone to an off-board camera or something.
Well, you can't do that while you're driving in iRacing, but I think this is just a bit of desync. I thought I'd show this for a bit of entertainment, but I think that's just a case of the bonnet would have come off at his end or it'll be still down. But at my end, it seems to be flapping up and not coming off. So I thought that would be just something quite funny to show, to put a bit of light on the situation.
Oh yeah, I mean, impressive if not. That's a real drive.
I mean, yeah, fair play to him. He's made up for that silly incident. But no, that's hell of a downforce and all, isn't it? I can imagine the grip on the front end. It'll feel like an LMP. But you know what? Despite how it came about earlier, Dan Peppels has put in a hell of a drive to get that lead back. It's a shame that he's still not battling with his teammate in a nice clean battle after I don't think it was spoiled by Alex King earlier on. I think Bremer did that to himself with that silly incident. But Peppels has been pretty untouchable at the front of the pack. It was that simple mistake that cost him, and he's still managed to come away with the lead, which is very, very impressive.
Yep, nice bit of driving there from the Mazda driver, and as you say, the lead is now a comfortable gap of around 19, nearly 20 seconds between the two of them, which doesn't tell the story of the race, of course. It's been a lot closer than that one up until very recently indeed. Every driver, let's be perfectly frank, let's be perfectly honest, anybody who makes it to the checker with a moderately straight car that hasn't kissed the barriers
like
has
that.
done a damn fine job. Yeah, perfectly on cue, thank you very much. I really do think iRacing need to simulate knocking off the wing mirrors. That should be the law for all racing sims. And there would have been none on that one.
I think there are, on the TCRs, they're quite sensitive to the wing mirrors, which is good news. They do have tethers as well, so they flop around properly, like they don't just sort of ping off. They really do hang about, and the physics still affect them. It's really cool. No physics have been affecting Austin Tucker, though. He's been absolutely brilliant at the front of the field in this GR86. The livery may be horrific / excellent, but no one's touched him. No one's touched him at all. 44 seconds over Gruber, and then Wolf in third place as well. Richard Cawthron is on for a podium as well if he keeps it all together. He's still got 6 seconds over Austin Farr. And right now, the guy just up the road, I say just up the road, he's a minute ahead of Cawthron. Giovanni Romano is on to his final lap of the race, Paul.
Let's just take a moment to appreciate the skill of the Italian driver. That has been beautiful. Stayed out of trouble. Canadian driver. Stayed out of trouble, was rapid as rapid can be, made a whole host of good decisions during the course of the race, and there's going to be a commanding victory, which is not to shake a stick at around this track in this field. Genuinely, that's been a massively impressive performance for me.
Yeah, it's been excellent, hasn't it? Nobody has come anywhere near him. In the first round of the championship, he had a great fight on his hands with Austin Farr, but Austin unfortunately lost out on that one with a few incidents here and there, a few mistakes that affected him in the later stages of the race. But the man that's been right on form and completely untouchable has been Giovanni Romano. Car number 99 is going to take a lot of points out of this one, as he did at Navarra just before the Christmas break, and it is going to be 69 laps as well, just to add an extra little bit of flamboyance to it, as that is the number 30 car of, I think, Stephen King in third. He's going to finish third in the Jettas, but it is Giovanni Romano who takes the victory here at Charlotte Motor Speedway, and we need to look at the next ones up will be the GR86s. Actually, to be fair, the GR86s, the MX-5 leader is just there behind them, and Jack Johns is just there behind them as well. Stephen King has finished third, and I think Stephen might have miscalculated and run out of fuel here, and I'm not even sure if Jack and Patrick will make it to the end. Have they crossed the line? They have not. They have to do an extra lap here, Paul.
The gift that keeps on giving is this race. This is a bit like mid-90s IndyCar, isn't it?
They're out of fuel.
Everybody trying to squeeze the car to the line. 86, the speed is dropping. Oh, they're not going to make it, Chaz. They are not going to make it, or are they? It's still increasing.
It's stuttering.
We're grateful for banking, but oh my goodness me, a diesel running out of fuel.
The race leader still, even though he's on his cool-down lap, still lapping them. We need to look here at Austin Tucker, though. He has got Dan Pepples right behind him, and these two are going to take respective victories in their classes. Austin was not on the podium last time out at Navarra. It was Sharp, Vukovic and Coombs that took the 1, 2, 3 there. And Austin Tucker is going to get the job done. Hard onto the brakes into the chicane once more, lobs it in over the curb. Austin Tucker, race winner in the Production Car Challenge Plus here on FTR Events and Chaz Draycott Media. Dan Pepples, eventless race really throughout the majority, but makes it to the end. And what about this? Now, the rest of the class in the Jettas has finished the race, which is the important thing. Jack Johns is just going to make it to the line in, well, dramatic fashion. In the background, I can tell you that Patrick Dopart is getting a push. Jack Johns wins in incredible fashion across the line. But look at this for sportsmanship here. This is Jake Cranstone, who won the first race, giving Patrick a bit of a shove across the line. Patrick Dopart second. Excellent stuff. Stephen King third. Cranstone eventually finishes fourth. What a bit of sportsmanship that was from Cranstone to get him across the line. Wow. What a race, Paul. So much to look at everywhere in that field. What did you make of that?
Well, I said probably 45 minutes to an hour ago, it's the kind of race that the drivers won't know what's going to happen until, or where they're going to finish, until they reach the checkered flag. And we have literally had cars pushed over the line of the checkered flag to prove that point. 100 minutes, 1 hour and 40 minutes of I don't know what day of the week it is racing. Man, what a great show that's been. I have really enjoyed this. The FTR Events Production Car Challenge Plus is singing beautiful songs at Charlotte. Stupendous.
It was absolutely mega. We're going to have a quick look through some of the results just now, and then we will go over go over some interviews with the drivers. We'll bring in them one class at a time. Looking at the BMW M2s, it was Giovanni Romano taking the win, 22.5 seconds clear of Tom Mayle in the end. Had a much better race this time than he did at Navarra. Richard Cawthorne finishes on the podium in third place, quite a bit further ahead of Austin Farr than planned. I think Austin ran out of fuel near the end because he seemed to be going straight over the final chicane. But then behind him was Antonio Alvarez. Didn't see much of him in that race, but sometimes no news is good news. Ben Chalcraft was sixth ahead of Alex King, and then the drivers that didn't finish the race as well, Connor Hatfield, Alejandro Garcia de la Mata, Pedro Barbosa and Miguel Sousa did not take to the start. Paul, why don't you take it away with the GR86s?
Yeah, beautiful class, some great racing, and Austin Tucker was the most successful of all, with victory by a full lap from Gregor Gruber in second position. Ron Wolf, we saw plenty of drama for Wolf as well. A little bit of incidents out on the racetrack, all count towards his third place finish for the American driver. And then just behind is Chris Schofer in fourth position. Paul Hendricks finished in fifth place, 2 laps away from the overall race leader. And then a little bit further detached, we go down in a sixth position. John Payton, we saw him in trouble in qualifying. We saw him have plenty of trouble in the race as well. He's classified 6th, just ahead of John Coombs in 7th. Evan Campbell is classified 8th position, and then João Marta Costa was an early retirement, 28 laps before the checker, and they're classified in last.
Over to the MX-5s, it was Dan Pepples that deservedly took the race victory in the end. A very flawless performance for him after issues at Navarra. Ivan Bremer, I'm not sure will hold on to that second place. We'll have to see what punishment comes with the incident with Alex King's BMW. Miles Owens finishes on the podium though, 1-2-3 for that team. Very, very well done to them regardless on the road. Justin Michaela was 4th, ahead of Chris Flamion in 5th. Matt Acton was a lap down, but he certainly enjoyed dancing around with the Jettas throughout. Thomas Weston finished 15 laps down, and Martin Pearson did not complete the race either, after taking the win as well last time on the circuit at Navarra. But Paul, last but very much not least, the Jettas.
Yeah, the Jettas, my favourite class, it has to be said, and it was a inch perfect, beautiful drive by car number 35, Jack Johns. 10 seconds was the advantage at the checkered flag, despite the dramas of the last lap, fuel lack thereof. In second position, it is Patrick Dopart, and then third place goes the way of Stephen King. Stephen, massive value all the way through the race. Jake Cranstone had an incredible comeback drive. The history books will say he's 1 lap in arrears, but fourth position was just reward for a beautiful drive for the number 78. And then Jermaine Argard in fifth position. Donny Alpha Hendrickson is classified in 6th ahead of Eric Manintveld. In 8th position, Sam Van Ols, we saw him go into retirement after a great drive. John Bailiff is classified in 9th, also a DNF. And then Stephen Burns rounds out the VW Jetta class.
Thank you very much, Paul. We'll hop into the Discord and see who we can have a chat with. The first driver I want to speak to is a guy that had a relatively pain-free race, actually, unlike us having to look at that livery. Austin Tucker in the box. Austin, first off, how are you? Did you enjoy that? And well done.
Pretty good. I did enjoy that, and thank you. I, of course, wasn't mistake-free myself. Had a spin around lap 10 or so, and then from there, I just managed to mostly hold on. I was really looking forward to a race with John and Zhao, but so I was unfortunate to see them get taken out early on. But overall, I had quite a good time.
I was going to say, early on there was quite a lot of drama in the race. It seemed to sort of write a lot of people off in the early stages. So were you trying to keep an eye on whether they were making comeback drives or not, or was it just a case of eyes forward and just crack on?
I was trying to do my best to keep my eye on everyone. I knew Ron was fast, and I was hoping to race with Evan. Of course, they got caught up in the pace lap incident. But so mostly I was keeping my eye on George, trying to just manage the gap to him. He was ahead of me early on, and it was like 5 seconds. Then I got caught up with a bunch of Jetta traffic, and it fell to 8 or so. And then, but I think he took tires on that first pit stop, and that gave me whatever happened when he pitted. That gave me the lead, and so I was mostly just trying to maintain it and not repeat my spin from early on.
Now, the livery. We didn't get a chance to fully catch it in slow motion. Actually, we might be able to see it just now as it comes past on the right hand side. What is written on the side of that thing? So it's Shark Esports Motorsports Sim Sports Racing, powered by what? Oh no, it's
powered by.
Thonk
I'm not
Esports.
Sure. I haven't looked too closely at it myself.
I don't blame you, but but still, it's been massive entertainment, Austin. A great race for you. Some big championship points. Is there anyone you'd like to give a shout out to before you go?
Well, shout out to Tyler. I don't think he can make it this season, but he's the one that put together this beauty of a paint together. This is what we use for our enduros and other special events. So, shout out to him for blessing everyone's eyes with this wonderful fight.
Well, thank you for jumping in, Austin. Very well done tonight, and we hope you enjoy the moment, and we'll see you in the next round.
Thank you all.
Well, Austin Tucker, a good laugh as well as a good sport there, Paul. And to be fair, the livery, I mean, it's striking, isn't it? You've got to have a laugh with these things. If you know, we always say with liveries, just because you can doesn't mean you should, but he has, and it looks great.
And also, livery is the way that you show your personality out on track.
100%.
So I love the variety. Love and that livery, not necessarily interesting bedfellows in terms of conversation, but personable. Yes, it is definitely noteworthy, and there's credit where credit's due for that one. It's one that will see you, much like staring at the sun, into your eyes for a long period of time.
Yeah, if you can be anything in a race, if not Craig, be noteworthy. That's something I'm going to carry forward into my racing in future. Hopefully something that Dan Pepples can carry forward in his racing is race wins. Dan, you must be so pleased with tonight, especially after how it went down at Navarra.
Yeah, for sure. Thank you very much, guys. Yeah, something new for me. First time for me winning a league race overall in my own class.
Oh,
I've done it before
congratulations.
in yeah, thank you. I've done it before in an AM class, but yeah, this is the first time for me.
Well, very well done, and what a place to do it as well. It wasn't easy around the Roval, was it? Because while the oval itself is very wide, the infield is mighty tricky.
Yeah, I must say the only thing that helped really was the fact that the M2s weren't that much quicker, or some even slower in the infield than the MX-5s, or at least than me today. So that helped that there was no overtaking going on there, and they mostly overtook you on the banks. So yeah, I must say that was really helpful. But this is such a tricky circuit with those two chicanes. I'm surprised I even got through that last chicane, not touching the wall on the exit at least once tonight.
Well, I mean, there was your moment with the lap traffic, which we caught, which certainly threw a spanner in the works with your race. Did Ivan slow down at all, or were you just that much quicker when you came back out of the pits?
Yeah, I mean, when that happened, I left all communications. I went completely silent. I had my stream myself, and that was it, my engineer. But he did not slow down at all. He told me, at least.
Fair play.
I was quicker, but I don't know. There was something strange going on with an M2 that I think took him out of the race. I didn't know exactly what happened, but there was an M2 that just kept slowing down in front of us. It kept overtaking us, then missing the chicane, slowing down in front of E1, and then, yeah, it was a really, really strange situation, I have to say.
Yeah, it didn't look fantastic from where Paul and I were either, unfortunately, so that'll be one for the stewards, and we'll obviously see what happens before next time. But speaking of next time, Snetterton in the UK, one of the most boring circuits in the world in our eyes. What do you make of going there?
Oh, I hope it's bloody boring for you guys to watch in the MX-5 Class 2. No, I mean, it's a circuit that I have a love-hate relationship with it. It's not one of my favorite circuits, but I've gone well at it before. So let's hope that'll be the case once again.
Well, we'll keep our fingers crossed for you, Dan. Very well done tonight. Fantastic to see it. Is there anyone you'd like to give a shout-out to while we've got you?
Oh, for sure. Miles, E1, the whole team, all of our partners and our sponsors, especially Moza, for the trust and sticking with us. It's been a great partnership with them so far. And of course, sorry, I can't speak after that win. Adrenaline is high. Of course, Miles and E1, they are the veterans in this car. Without them, I for sure wouldn't have been this quick. So a big thank you to them for helping me get quicker in this car.
Well, very well done, Dan. Fantastic and nicely said. We look forward to seeing you at Snetterton, mate. Enjoy the rest of your evening, and we'll see you soon.
Thank you very much, guys.
Lovely guy, Dan Pepples, and like he said, I mean, at the end of the day, I would have done similar, Paul. You know, leave all communications, say, stuff it, I'm going to focus on my own race now, crack on, no distractions. It's a good thing to do, really.
I agree fully. I mean, honestly, I don't know how these guys and girls do it when they've got a spotter and an engineer in the rear telling them things. And if you ever race with me, Chaz, and you ever want me to make complete and utter hash of everything, just tell me how well I'm doing. And that, just, you know, even crew chief, it's like, oh, you did a great job, mate, keep it up. Oh, no. He's straight into the wall. So it really is. It's impressive that these guys can race at this level, race this close together on a difficult track like Dan mentioned, and still have discourse with other members of their team as they map things out. It's race driving, real or virtual, is more than just pedaling it around a racetrack. I always tell this to the few friends I have that don't like motor racing, and I think that's a great example that Dan mentioned there, that he's disconnected from it all, gone analog, and took it through to a very impressive victory.
Yeah, he did an absolutely awesome job, and to be fair, the man on screen now as well, Giovanni Romano, seemed completely unstoppable in that BMW. But your first one of the season, Paul, it's been an absolute delight to have you. Any final words before we wrap this up?
it's been absolutely wonderful. It's lovely to commentate with one of my favourite people in the world, Mr. Chaz Draycott.
Thank you.
And the racing has been beautiful. In parts, it's been a bit leery. There will be a virtual smack on the back of the hands of some people, I think it's fair to say. But no, thanks for having me. Thank you for FTR Events for putting these great events on, and Chaz Draycott Media, of course. And roll on next one, mate. Although it's Snetterton, which is, yeah.
Flat.
Roll on.
Well,
It's
if you listen,
devoid of interest.
Yeah.
Is a nice way to put it. Devoid of interest.
I mean, if you look at the Senna documentary or series or whatever that came out, it's the hilliest place in the world. It's like Salzburg that you went to. Incredible. But no, it's definitely not. It's as flat as an ironing board. But still, thank you once again, Paul. Thank you, everybody at FTR Events. And thank you, everybody, for watching. We hope you've all enjoyed the show tonight here on Chaz Draycott Media. Join us next time when we'll be back for Snetterton for round 3 and already the penultimate round of the championship. Thanks once again for watching, everybody. We'll see you in a few weeks' time.
And look at Jochen Hahn and Antonio Albacete. The two of them go flying through the right-hand side, then the left-hand side. Jochen Hahn around the outside, and Lucas Hahn, no father and son, come together on the exit of turn 1.
And the best thing about this is the fact that it's still a 15-minute sprint race. They're not extended the time of the race. It's still just like, it's going to be, what, 7 laps of Spa-Francorchamps?
We get to the real nitty-gritty of motorsport. Cranston and Smith are side by side for the title in the very final race of the season. As they go back up the hill towards the Schumacher. Nils Kor clips the back at 10. Simon Povey clips the side of Nils Kor. They go over the hill and Povey's around.
Oh my God, that's going to definitely be the thumbnail, isn't it? Hit me in the right direction. Thank you so much.
23 cars.